understand your rights. These are the rights that I am referring to. Are there any announcements at the jails regarding medical resets? All right, hearing none. I understand that there's several cases that need interpretation. And the attorneys have not yet had the opportunity to interview their clients. If we could begin with that, perhaps we let Ms. Gant go into the breakout first with interpretation, and then come back and we do Ms. Kim's positions. Also, all those who receive a signature or a cash bond today will be reset to the SAP calendar on September the 6th. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset further notice. All right, Madam Interpreter, please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Can you
Good
hear me?
afternoon.
My name is Adriana, Adriana, last name Chancey, Chancey.
Okay, Ms. Chancey, will you please raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear and affirm that the interpretation you do today from Spanish to English, English to Spanish will be done to the best of your skill, knowledge, and ability?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Ms. Gant, I was gonna ask it. I'm sorry, Ms. Lewis.
I'm sorry, Judge. I was trying to get your attention. You said there was an announcement. We do have a private attorney on the line.
Okay, let's see. Before we go to that, can we please put the breakout? Can we begin the interpretation breakouts?
Yeah,
So,
I need to know what room. I need to know what courtroom that they are assigned in.
All right, the defendants who need interpretation, are they all in courtroom 3?
That is correct, Judge.
That's wonderful. Thank you all for doing that in advance. So if we could put Ms. Gant into a breakout with Ms. Gant, were you going to make another announcement?
Yes, Your Honor. I do apologize for interrupting. Regarding medical resets position 18, Johnson will be reset to tomorrow's C calendar.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gant, for the announcement. What I'm going to ask that we do now is, Ms. Gant, will you go into the breakout first?
Yes, Your Honor.
And well, when you return, please announce your return so that Ms. Kim could go in. And we'll take the private attorney case first if we can, while interpretation is going forward. All right. So we'll take Mr. Mondele's case first if we can, and then following him, we'll go straight into Ms. Kim. Hopefully she'll still be with us. All right. Mr. Mondele, please enter your appearance and tell us who you represent.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I represent Mr. Zachary Alexis.
All right, can we take that position first, please? Thank you, Mr. Alexis. Good afternoon. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Your case is 22 CR 005580C, in which you're charged with 2 counts of battery family violence with the offense date of August 2nd. Do you understand the constitutional rights that I explained previously?
Yes, she's talking to you.
Do you understand your rights? Please respond quickly.
I don't know rights in the bond.
Judge,
You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney today. You understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have his history, please?
He probably didn't hear you, Judge, because he just got on the line.
He flashed on. Ms. Howard, can I have the history for position 1?
Alexis,
Yes.
4th arrest. Last arrest was back in March for battery DV trespass. It's open in state court. 22 CR 001-327C. That's a $5,000 pretrial bond. I think it's the same victim. Now, I think you signed the bond the last time.
Okay,
I'm almost certain.
that was my case before. Okay,
Yeah, that's it.
thank you. That's good. Thank you. Ms. Tortorello, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tortorello. Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. For the first count of battery family violence, we're asking for the $3,000 surety bond to change to a $2,500 cash bond. The same goes for the second count of battery family violence. We're asking for it to go from a $3,000 surety to a $2,500 cash bond. So that would be a total of $5,000. and that will be a cash bond. Conditions: no contact with the victim, his mother, and that is Ms. Bernadine Alexis. The first name is spelled B-E-R-N as in Nancy, A-D-I-N-E. The last name is the same as the defendant's, Alexis. For the defendant to stay away from the location at 18015 Gardner Drive in Alpharetta, Georgia. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, as you've heard from pretrial, this defendant has an open case, and it's actually the same victim. It's 22 CR 0013227C. He's charged with simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. The offense date was October 16th of 2021. It was filed March 11th of this year. And this is where he shoved his mother's head against the window, causing her to hit her head. The defendant received a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial on March 11th, 2022, and it was granted by Your Honor. The defendant was ordered to have no violent contact with his mother, Bernadine Alexis. And Your Honor, he is in direct violation of this bond order, and pretrial should surrender his bond. In this case, Your Honor, on August 2nd, there's two separate transactions on the same date, Your Honor. So on August 2nd, 2022, around 3:30 a.m., the defendant, Zachary Alexis, did awaken the victim, Bernadine Alexis, his mother, in the night with yelling and screaming. The defendant then punched Miss Bernadine on the right side of the face, resulting in facial swelling. The defendant then grabbed Miss Bernadine by her right arm, resulting in welts and marks consistent with such. On said date, at around 10:14 p.m., the defendant did, during the course of an argument, grab Miss Bernadine by the head, pulling her hair, then grabbed her arm and neck region with such force that it left marks and abrasions consistent with such. The defendant was eventually arrested, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant has 4 cycles. He poses a risk of reoffending. He poses a risk of intimidating the victim in this case, Your Honor. He was already been given a no violent contact order. He's directly violated that condition, Your Honor. We are in fear for the victim's safety. And for that, Your Honor, we are asking for that $5,000 cash bond total. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Mr. Mondelli?
Thank you, Judge. And just for the record, I represent Mr. Alexis on his pre-existing open case. And that is currently pending. At the time of this incident, Judge, we have been working to try and set up a mental health court resolution to that case. I suspect that where we're going to be going next is to a full-on competency evaluation instead, just based on the totality of factors. In terms of the factual allegations, what I'll just say, Your Honor, is that Mr. Alexis has substantial mental health issues that are going on. I'm in contact with his mother, who is the person who has retained me for all his matters, and she is between a rock and a hard place in terms of wanting help for her son that she cannot single-handedly provide, but also not wanting him to continue reoffending. We certainly understand the state's position. We would ask that Your Honor set a bond that includes a surety amount. I don't think Miss Alexis is going to attempt to make the bond on these matters because of the continued situation as the state has described. Additionally, Judge, to the extent that you wish to revoke the bond on the existing case, we would ask that a surety bond be set on that as well. Once again, I don't believe Miss Alexis is going to attempt to make any bond. And as I indicated, I believe our next step is to set this up for a full competency evaluation before we can proceed further with any case. So we would ask for a reasonable surety bond on everything if Your Honor sees fit, and then we can proceed with both cases in tandem to find a real resolution that provides security to Miss Alexis and help to her son.
And Your Honor, given opposing counsel statements on record, we are asking to add MHET to the bond condition.
No objection.
All right. At this time, the defendant will receive $1,000 cash bond for count 1 and $1,000 cash bond for count 2 for a total of a $2,000 cash bond. He is to have no further contact with the alleged victim. I am going to sound for Miss Alexis. Is Miss Alexis currently present on the Zoom conference? All right, I am gonna order the MHET and he must stay away from the address on Gardner Drive. The case will also be reset to the SAP calendar on the 9th, whereby the bond conditions, bond amount can be revisited at that time. I believe, I'm sorry, September the 6th is
Thank
when
you.
that case will be reset.
And
So
Judge,
that we
what time will that be on the
That's
6th?
typically at 9 a.m.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right,
And-
does that complete your business, Mr. Mondelli?
One, just to confirm, is 22 CR 005580C is the new case number?
Yes.
Okay, we'll file into that case number shortly.
All right.
And Your
That's
Honor,
yes.
right. And Your Honor, the state does request for both cases to be reset to that calendar.
The original case may have a different SAP date. I'm not sure. Ms. Lewis, you were looking to
The
weigh in.
original SAP, the other case is already pending in Judge Dixon courtroom with the status.
Right, because it's
Court
reset
date.
for the notice. That's true. So
Oh.
I don't have the authority to reset that case.
Could we,
to the
Judge,
SAP.
could we reset this the other way and send this to Judge Dixon?
They're
Not at
both
this
assigned
time.
to Judge Dixon.
They're
at this
assigned to
time.
Judge Dixon, but it'll still appear on this calendar at that time.
Okay.
You could all waive arraignment and not show if you would prefer, but there's lots of other options. But
All right.
this case will be reset so that the bond can be, if he has not made bond and orders have not been entered, it's a way of us checking on the case, okay?
Understood, Judge. Thank you.
Excuse me, Attorney, I'm sorry, but the case, if, I will send you some paperwork for you to have that, the MHE to be done, because the paperwork needs to be filled out and completed. And Judge, normally those type of cases are reset on a Thursday calendar.
So the
at the
competency?
time To give it time to have the valuation done.
Well, we would still, is there no competency calendar on the 9th? That's a Tuesday?
They're normally on Thursday.
Right, but what I'm asking is I didn't look at the date. Is September the 6th not a Thursday?
No, that's a Tuesday.
Okay, we'll reset him to the September 8th so that there's a competency, just so that we can check and make status. And if there needs to be reset further from there, we can do that.
Okay.
So this case will be reset to the competency calendar,
Before the
September
8th.
the 8th.
Mhm.
And that competency calendar is typically at 11, Mr. Mondelli.
Thank you, Judge. Greatly appreciated.
And
All right.
I will send you over the paperwork for you to complete, to send out to me if I can get the valuation started, sir.
Thank you. I'll have my entry filed later today.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Hey,
Miss-
Judge, real quick, is this cash only?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Position
Mr.
29 is next.
Before we go to position 29, are we still doing the interpreter cases? Is that still happening?
Yes, we are, Judge, in courtroom 3.
Okay. If possible, I believe is position 29 assigned to Ms. Kim?
I'm
Mr.
already-
Mondelli,
Judge, I'm already doing all Ms. Kim's cases because Ms. Gant is in the interpretation breakout.
and we can also do the ones where there's no conflict attorney. We can do those as well. Mr.
That's fine.
Mondelli, if that concludes your business with the court, you're free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
All right, take care. All right, we're going to the position 29, the case of Clarence Scott, case number 22 CR 005611C, in which you're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of August the 21st of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard.
13 total. Last arrest was for disorderly conduct. He pled NOLO in 2021. It was a battery with that arrest. Yeah, the DUI conviction 2017, 2011 failure to appear. Possession of drug-related objects, misdemeanor possession of marijuana convictions 2011. He also has history out of Florida. Last arrest in Florida was 2005, carrying a concealed weapon and possession of marijuana. So he's just on probation for the disorderly conduct out of DeKalb County. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to make a note before the court that this case has been accepted in the DA's office as a felony aggravated assault strangulation. So we will
Okay,
be
so we won't be hearing this today. All right.
We will be hearing it today, Your Honor, since it was accepted after the cutoff period. The state is just
Okay.
requesting that the court hear it in terms of the felony upgraded charges.
All right, please proceed, Ms. Duncan.
Okay, this incident occurred on August 21st, 2022 at 2453 Cornett Way, Coronet Way Northwest. The victim in this case is a Miss Hollis Thomas, Hollis Thomas, Thomas. And in this case, we have a concern about the risk of reoffense and intimidation of the witness. The defendant and the victim, Miss Thomas, in this case, are in a relationship, and they do share a child together. In this instance, Miss Thomas and a friend had came home at around 1 o'clock in the morning, and they were in the living room, and Mr. Scott and the victim's newborn child were sleeping. The warrant indicates that Mr. Scott woke up from his sleep and began slapping Miss Thomas in the shoulder and telling her that she needed to make the company leave. When she woke up to make the company leave, the defendant in this case got more upset, Your Honor. There was a third-party witness, a Miss Standifer, who stated that the defendant in this case became extremely irate and began punching Miss Thomas in the face several times with a closed fist while their newborn was actually present. While punching her in the face, it resulted in a bloody nose and a swollen eye. We did get a chance to speak to the victim in this case. She stated that they were in a relationship and that they lived together and that they share one child, as stated before. She said that this has never happened, but she does fear the defendant, and that she that he stated that he was going to kill her because he put her in a chokehold and she could not breathe and she actually blacked out. She stated that she has already left the apartment and does not have plans on returning. She wants no contact with the defendant. And it's my understanding that she is on the Zoom. If Your Honor would like to sound for her, but as I was stating, we have a concern about the risk of reoffense given the relationship and the child that they share together. There might be an intimidation factor in this case. We're concerned about the particular danger to this defendant, as well as this defendant being a flight risk. We did notice an FTA from 2011, and there is a dismissed battery family violence. Although it is not the same victim, Your Honor, it does show a pattern of violent behavior. And for those reasons, the state is going to be requesting a $10,000 surety with no further contact with the victim in this case, no further contact with the child in this case, a stay away until it can be verified that the victim has left the location, 4 weeks of anger management, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. And nothing further from the state. If Your Honor would like to sound for the victim, she might be here.
All right, thank you. Before I do that, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Scott is 38 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. He has, of course, one child who's 2 months old with Hollis Thomas, and they're not married yet. Mr. Scott has been gainfully employed as a carpenter for a construction company for the last 10 years. He has a GED, and we do not have any objection to no further contact. And yet, since she left the premises, he would like to go back home, and we request for third-party transfer for the child. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I'm sounding for Ms. Thomas. Ms. Thomas, if you are present on the Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak.
And while we're waiting, Your Honor, I wanted to note for the court that that order has been submitted to the to Ms. Grace.
All right, thank you. Hearing none, at this time, the defendant will receive a $10,000 surety bond. He's to have no further contact with the alleged victim in this case, last name Thomas, or with the child at this time. This can be revisited and reconsidered at the SAP calendar. He is to stay away from the address on Cornet Way if the alleged victim is still there. If the victim is not there, he'll return one time with law enforcement to make that determination, and he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of this bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Is there anything further? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Scott. Who do we have next?
Position 22, Mangum.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Mangum. Your case number is 22 CR 005589A, on which you're charged with 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property, 1 count of driving while your license is suspended or revoked, 1 count of acquiring a license plate for the purpose of concealing your vehicle, 1 count of failure to have your license on person, and 1 count of failure to register, obtain, or transfer a license plate, each with the offense date of August the 20th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard.
Second arrest, 2018 simple battery trespass, disorderly conduct. They were all 3 dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident did occur on August the 20th, 2022 in the area near Piedmont Road and Sidney Marcus Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. An officer on patrol in that area noticed a license plate reader hit for a possible stolen license plate out of the state of Georgia. It was the property of Dubai First Auto LLC. Officers waited for the vehicle to pass, and then when they made contact with the vehicle, they asked the driver of the vehicle for their name, and the driver was later identified as the defendant in this case. And upon running the information through their ATIC, it did come back that the license plate was reported stolen out of DeKalb County on August the 5th, 2022. And it also did come back that the defendant, the driver of the vehicle, did have a suspended license for a failure to appear from December 11th, 2021. It is indicated that the license plate was used because the defendant had bought a used vehicle and did not register that vehicle under his name, and it was an attempt to conceal his status because his license was suspended. The state does have a concern about the flight risk in this case. Given that, the state is going to be requesting a $3,000 total surety bond. That's $1,000 surety for the theft by receiving stolen property and $500 for each of the other counts, which is driving while license suspended, acquiring a license plate, failure to have license on person, and failure to register the license plate. In addition to that, we're going to ask for no driving unless there is a valid license, insurance, registration, and tag permitted by DDS, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mangum is 23 years old, Your Honor. He was born and raised here in Georgia, and he has his parents here in Georgia, and he has been working at parking lot as an attendant for the last 10 months. He graduated from high school, and this is his second cycle. And also, Your Honor, he is recommended for unsecured judicial relief. So we would like to request for signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 surety bond. Thank you, Your Honor. Total.
Mr. Howard, can you confirm whether or not he was recommended?
Send it through jail.
Okay. All right, at this time, the defendant's going to receive a split bond. He's going to receive $1,000 surety bond for count 1. For count 2, he will receive, let's see. The $1,250 split signature bond through the jail, broken down as follows: 500 count 2, 250 count 3, 250 count 4, and 250 count 5. And those will go through the jail. The only one that is surety is count 1. And he is to not drive unless he has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS. And he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition.
What's
Is there anything for?
What's the
Thank
total
you.
for the jail?
The total for the jail is 1,250. And the total surety is 1,000.
Your Honor, if you could please restate the designations for the signature portion.
Okay, 500 count 2, 250 for the remaining counts.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you, Your
that should
Honor.
equal 1,250.
Yes.
All right,
Yes, Your Honor.
all right. Best of luck to you, sir. Can we move to the next position?
25, Parson.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Parson. Your case number is 22 CR 0055860, in which you're charged with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, driving under the influence of alcohol with a 0.08 concentration of blood alcohol within 3 hours or more, driving improper erratic lane change, and possession of an open container, each with the offense date of August the 20th. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, here, seeing that this is his first arrest, let's go straight to you, Ms. Duncan.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident did occur on August the 20th, 2022. There was an officer, Christensen, on patrol in the area of Old Alabama Road. And they spotted the defendant who was driving the vehicle waiting at a red light at the south of Holcomb Bridge Road. The officer noticed that once the light turned green, that vehicle did not move for an extended period of time. And once the vehicle did begin to move, the officers observed that vehicle go through the light and fail to maintain the lane several times by splitting the lane markers. The vehicle then made a U-turn on a blind hill curve. And then at that time, the officers initiated a traffic stop. When they made contact with the driver, they noticed that the driver's eyes were red and watery and that his speech was slurred and slowed. They detected an odor of marijuana and alcoholic beverage coming from the vehicle, and officers asked the occupant of the vehicle to exit, where they conducted a search of the vehicle based on the odor. There was a silver tumbler located in the center console, and officers detected an odor of alcoholic beverage. They then returned to the driver, which was Parsons, and they asked if he had consumed any alcoholic beverages at that time, and he replied to officers that he had consumed a beer approximately 2 hours ago. I'm sorry, approximately 70 minutes prior to making contact with the officers. Officers did in fact conduct field sobriety testing, and on those field sobriety tests, 1 second, Your Honor, my computer is freezing. On those field sobriety tests, the defendant had pupils that were normal, but he was having trouble following the finger during those tests. There was some trouble with the walk and turn, and the other tests conducted during the field sobriety test, along with the Alka-Sensor test, were positive for indications of impairment. Given this, Your Honor, we have a concern about this defendant being a danger to the community. As we all know, driving under the influence is dangerous for those on the road and for the drivers of those vehicles. Given those facts, we're going to be requesting a $3,000 total, a $5,000 total surety bond, $3,000 total surety for the DUI per se, $1,500 for the DUI less safe, $500 for the improper lane change, and $500 surety for the open alcohol container, totaling $5,000 total surety with no driving, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no further violations of Georgia law, and an ADET.
All right, thank you, Ms. Duncan. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. David Parson is 32 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for the last 5 years. He has a sister and friends here in Georgia. He also works as a project manager. He has been gainfully employed for the last 5 years. He also has a bachelor's degree, majoring in marketing, Your Honor. And this is his first offense. So we would like to request for unsecured judicial relief. He is recommended for signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, since this is DUI, we would like to request for maximum $1,000, a good bond for DUI per se, and all the other 3 charges as a signature on bond jail. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim. At this time, Mr. Parson will receive a bond as follows: 2,000 count 1, 1,000 count 2, 500 count 3, 500 count 4, for a total of a $4,000 surety bond. Please check my math. He is not to drive unless he has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS, and he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol condition at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Is it possible that we could go to the case that Mr. Walsh represents? Mr. Walsh, please enter your appearance.
I filed my entry, Your Honor. There was a little bit of confusion between the magistrate court and I this morning, but it's been e-filed as of a
That's
few
fine.
minutes
Just
ago.
state your name for this record.
My name is Ryan Walsh, bar number 300042.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Can we go to the case of Aline Brunson?
Brunson, is Mr. Brunson in here? Brunson?
It's Miss Alini Brunson, Your Honor.
Okay. So she might not be there. She might be at South Annex. We may not be able to go to you.
You said she's in courtroom 3? She's in courtroom 3, Judge.
Okay, we'll have to come back to her. We don't have courtroom 3 quite yet. All right, we'll be back to you. Mr.
No
Walsh.
problem, Your Honor. I'm here.
All right, please hold. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, who we have next at courtroom 2?
Position 21, Malieb.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Malieb. Your case number is 22 CR 005609E, in which you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking with the offense date of July the 24th. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
All
this
right.
is the case that we request for breakout room.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're gonna have to come back to your case, so go ahead and have a seat for me. Position 26, Powell.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Position 26, Powell.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Powell. Your case number is 22 CR 005594F, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence with the offense date of August 20th. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I see Ms. Gant has returned. Can Ms. Kim now go into the breakout with the interpreter? That way we've interviewed we'll do all our interpreter interviews. Thank you.
Sure. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. That's gonna create we probably can't do them, Mr. Powell's, can we? That's your client, isn't it, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to come back to Mr. Powell's too. Can we please go to a position that Ms. Gant has?
Position 12, Mr. Eldeshoury.
Thank you. Mr. Eldeshoury, your case number is 22 CR 005608H, in which you're charged with 1 count of driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, failure to signal a lane change, okay? Driving erratically or making an improper lane change, and failure to obey a traffic control device with the offense date of August 21st. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Second arrest, 2017 trespass dismissed.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorello?
Yes, Your Honor. For the DUI charge, a $6,000 surety bond. For the turn signal charge, a $500 surety bond. For the erratic improper lane change charge, a $1,000 surety bond. For the failure to obey, a $500 surety bond. That would be a total of $8,000 surety. No driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 21st, 2022, Officer Christensen of the Roswell Police Department was on patrol on Georgia 140 in Roswell. The officer observed a silver Camry enter Georgia 140 east from Martin's Landing Drive and make 3 lane changes without signaling. Once in the farthest left lane, the officer observed the vehicle failed to maintain lane across double yellow lines. The Roswell Police Department initiated a traffic stop, and the vehicle turned into the left-hand turn lane at an intersection before proceeding left through a red light. The officer made contact with the driver, defendant Mohamed Eldeshoury, and observed his eyes to be red and watery. His speech was at times slurred, and detected the odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from his breath. The officer asked the defendant to exit the vehicle and move to the front of his patrol vehicle, which was visually indicated by the officer's pointing. The defendant had difficulty maintaining his balance when walking, and according to the officer, he exhibited gait ataxia. When standing still, officer observed the defendant to sway from side to side and from front to back. Defendant advised he consumed Tito's vodka mixed drink at approximately 7 p.m. before driving. The defendant agreed to do field sobriety evaluations. On the HEN, the officer found 6 out of 6 clues. On the walk and turn, the officer observed 8 out of 8 clues. And on the one leg stand, the officer observed 4 out of 4 clues. The defendant blew into the alka sensor where it detected a 0.225 Bach. Implied consent was read and the officer requested a state administered test of his breath. Defendant was arrested, and all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, he does have one cycle. However, he has a driver's history that goes all the way back to 2012. He was convicted, and he's also a multi-state offender in his driver's history. He was convicted in 2012 for speeding. This was an Alabama conviction. This was May 21st, 2012. Then on May 13th, 2014, he was again convicted of speeding out of Barrow Probate Court. On October 2nd, 2019, he was convicted of failure to obey signs. This was in South Fulton, as well as, Your Honor, the driver's history also indicated bond forfeiture on said date. And finally, Your Honor, on April 28th, 2020, he pled guilty to unlawful use of wireless. This was on April 28th, 2020, out of the Alpharetta Municipal Court. Though these offenses, Your Honor, seem minor, now we're looking at a DUI. So the state is asking for the that $8,000 surety bond, no driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Tortorella. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mohamed Eldeshoury is 27 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He does have family here, Your Honor. Therefore, he does have significant community ties. He is also currently employed at Atlanta Luxury Motors. He has been in that full-time position for the past 3 years. He earned a degree from the University of Georgia, where he studied finance. Your Honor, these are allegations. My client is presumed innocent at this time. He denies the allegations. I would ask that you not consider the state's proffer regarding my client's blood alcohol concentration, as the state has not laid the proper foundation for that. I received a report that my client meets criteria for a signature bond. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Eldeshoury's behalf. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I certainly would ask for a low bond, as this is his first arrest for DUI. And again, he's presumed innocent. I would ask that if he's ineligible for the signature bond, that Your Honor set a bond of no more than $1,000 for the DUI less safe and $500 for the remaining offenses, for a total bond of $2,500. And we again are opposed to the restrictions on no driving, as that will be handled in a different venue, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $4,000 surety bond broken down as follows: $2,500 count 1, $500 count 2, $500 count 3, and $500 count 4, for that total of the $4,000. The defense's objections are noted. However, he will he must not drive unless he has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS. He is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of this surety bond. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 20, Lancaster.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Lancaster. Your case number is 22 CR 005607D, in which you're charged with 1 count DUI, one count driving a license suspended or revoked, and one count of giving false information with the offense date of August the 20th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, seeing that this is the first offense, we'll go straight to Ms. Backus.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on August 20th. An officer initiated a traffic stop based on a GCIC that returned and showed the registered owner as having a warrant. Upon stopping and approaching the car, the defendant provided his name, which was the same as the registered owner, but he gave a birth date of November 5th, 1998, and said he didn't have his wallet with him. The officer did observe the defendant's wallet in plain sight and located the driver's identification. The ID had a different birth date than the one that was provided. During the conversation, the officer noticed that the driver had extremely slurred speech, droopy eyelids, bloodshot eyes, and he appeared disoriented. The defendant did agree to perform the field sobriety testing and showed clues of impairment during the test. The officer also noticed the smell of alcoholic beverage on his breath and said that he was also showing cognitive impairment, and based on his experience and his belief that he believed that he was on another substance as well. This is a first arrest, Your Honor, but based on the nature of a DUI, how dangerous it is, the danger to the community, the state is asking for a $7,000 surety bond, $6,000 on the DUI and $500 on the other two charges. He does, I believe he is a multi-state offender as far as his driving record. He's got a November 2021 FTA, June 2021 FTA, a March 2021 FTA. He had a suspension on May 30th, 2022. He also has another FTA in 2019. And then as far as his driving record, his convictions, he's got a 2021 driving while suspended and 2 speeding convictions in 2019. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Backus. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mark Lancaster is 25 years old. Although Mr. Lancaster is born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, Your Honor, he is currently a student at the University of Florida, Fort Lauderdale. He is a college athlete. He plays basketball. He is a finance major. He's a senior, has a GPA of 3.1. He does have family in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Therefore, he does have community ties, Your Honor. Mr. Lancaster is unemployed at this time. As I indicated, he is a full-time student. My client denies the allegations. He is presumed innocent at this point. And as we heard, this is his first arrest for DUI. I would ask for a signature bond on Mr. Lancaster's behalf. And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a total bond of no more than $2,000. And that would be $1,000 for the DUI and $500 for the remaining offenses. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, my apologies. Just quickly, I did forget to state, in addition to the surety bond, we're asking for the no alcohol, drugs, and weapons and no driving while out on bond.
And we are opposed to the no driving provision, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Lancaster is going to receive a $3,500 surety bond broken down as follows. Count 1, $2,000, count 2, $1,000, count 3, $500 for the total of the $3,500 surety. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he is not to drive unless he has a license issued by the Georgia DDS or the state of Florida, if that's where he resides. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Lancaster. Who do we have next?
Position 5, Battle.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Battle. Your case number is 22CR005588A, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence, 1 count of criminal trespass, each with the offense date of August the 20th. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Third arrest. 2018 sale of marijuana dismissed. 2020 theft by receiver. Possession of a Schedule 1 controlled substance. That substance was possession of marijuana over an ounce, and possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. That was out of Clayton County. I don't know the status of it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorello?
Yes, Your Honor. For the battery family violence, a $4,500 surety bond. For the criminal trespass, a $2,000 surety, that would be a total of $6,500 surety bond. The conditions is no contact with the victim. Her name is Lakota Owens Howard. Lakota is spelled like Dakota, but with an L. Owens and Howard, traditional spelling. To stay away from the incident location at 755 Delvigny Street. That's spelled D as in dog, A-L, V as in Victor, I-G-N-E-Y Street in Atlanta. 1 day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 20th, 2022, defendant Roderick Battle did intentionally grab with force the victim, Lakota Owens Howard, by grabbing her wrists and arms and forcing her out of her residence at 755 Delvigny Street. Miss Howard had visible bruising on her right arm and a bite mark on her left wrist. Both Miss Howard and the defendant do live together according to the officer's report. And all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant has 3 cycles. As you heard from pretrial, he may have an open case in Clayton County for theft by receiving and possession of firearm or knife. And the arrest was made by Clayton County Sheriff's Office. He also had a 2018 arrest for possession, distribution, manufacturing marijuana out of Mitchell County SO. That case was dismissed, Your Honor. But given his record, though light, he poses a risk of reoffending. He also poses a risk of intimidating the victim here in this case, as they do live together. So we are asking for that $6,500 surety bond, with the conditions already stated before Your Honor. Nothing further.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to sound for Ms. Howard. Ms. Howard, if you're on this Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing none, we'll go to you, Ms. Hogue.
Yes, Your Honor. First off, Mr. Battle is 25 years old, Your Honor. He is currently unemployed, but he does have a high school degree from Carver. And I want to set a few things here straight. He doesn't live at this residence, and neither does Miss Howard. This is his uncle's residence. He actually resides at 411 Lake Ridge Lane, Fairburn, Georgia, 30213 with his mother. This is not a family violence case either. They don't live together. They don't know each other. This is a friend of his uncle. So again, that will ultimately have to be fixed, Your Honor. So at this point in time, and that's not Miss Howard's residence either. It is his uncle's residence. I'm to understand she's a friend of the uncle who refused to leave. And so ultimately something happened where she was pushed out, Your Honor. But that is my understanding of this. And based on the fact that this is not his address and this is his uncle's. So first off, I think, I explained to him that he would have to have a no contact. He has no problem with that, but that he could visit his uncle as long as Miss Howard was not there. If Miss Howard was there, then he would have to leave. Your Honor, so as I said, he has a high school degree from Carver, Your Honor. He's lived in Georgia all of his life. His mother, father, sister, brothers, uncles, and aunts are all here. He is not a flight risk. As you can see, he only has 1 open case, 1 dismissed case. In this case, which is questionable as to exactly what happened, is that apparently Miss Howard was refusing to leave the residence, and it was the uncle's residence. So at this time, Your Honor, he's been approved for a pretrial release. I do believe that he warrants a pretrial release, and that is what we're asking for. And in the alternative, a $500 on the battery, which is not a battery family violence. And also it is not a criminal trespass because this is his uncle's place where he was visiting. So I'm not sure where there was a trespass here. I'm not sure how that was even added because it was never even initially charged. So we would say, definitely say a signature on that, Your Honor, as we don't even see that as warranted.
And Your Honor, it was added because the state has authority to do so. The report stated that they do.
Understood, Ms. Tortorella. Understood. Let's not belabor that point. We understand why it was added. All right. Anything further besides that from either the state of the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, and I understand we just have a long calendar today, so let's try to move through it. At this time, Mr. Battle is going to receive a $3,500 surety bond, $3,000 count 1, $500 count 2. He is to have no contact with the alleged victim, last name Howard, Based upon the information received from defense counsel that is not Ms. Howard's home, I won't issue the stay away. However, if the victim is there, he can't be there at all. So that I think the no contact will take care of that. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of his bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
And just to state for the record, Your Honor, the report did state that they do reside together.
No, Your Honor, they don't, and they have no family connection.
All right, he can, let's put in a one-time escort return with law enforcement to that address. If it's determined that that is in fact an address he'd like to return to, and that the victim is there, if the victim is there, he cannot return to that location. Otherwise, he cannot return. Ms. Tortorello, you're indicating that Delvini Street is in fact the victim and his address?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right.
And in the warrant, Your Honor, it states that he was forcing her out of said address.
All right, so what we'll do is it will go with the one-time escort and to determine what's happening at that address. If he's not living there, then it won't matter, Ms. Holt. He won't.
Yeah, I was
need to
gonna
go
say, Your
there.
Honor, that he doesn't live there. That is not his address, and
Right.
he's not connected to her.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just put the stay away from that address and if he needs to go there, he can go one time with law enforcement.
That's his uncle's
determine-
address, Your Honor.
Right.
His uncle
Okay.
lives there.
All right, we've determined what I've already ruled. We've said what we're gonna do. All right, anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right,
Nothing further defense.
best of luck to you, Mr. Battle. Let's move to the next position.
Position 8, Carew.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Carew. Your case number is 22 CR 005601D, in which you're charged with one count of DUI, one count simple battery, one count improper or erratic lane change, one count of possession of an open container, and one count of obstruction with the offense date of August the 20th. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
10 total. Last arrest was January 1st. Fleeing an officer. 2015 fade to appear. 2015 simple assault, family violence. 2014 possession of marijuana, misdemeanor. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender. Carrying concealed weapon conviction, 2009. 08 suspended license, NOLO. Giving false name, NOLO. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon, NOLO. That's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorello.
Yes, Your Honor. For the DUI, the state's asking for a $5,000 surety bond. For the simple battery, a $3,000 surety bond. For an erratic, the erratic lane change charge, a $500 surety. For the open container charge, a $500 surety bond. For the obstruction charge, a $1,000 surety bond. That's a total of a $10,000 surety bond. The conditions is no driving, no contact with the victim, Larry King, like traditional spelling for both names, Your Honor, both first and last. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 20th, 2022 at 3:15 a.m., Trooper G. Brown of the Georgia State Patrol observed a white 2015 Nissan Altima with no tag, failing to operate said vehicle entirely within the first lane on Moreland Avenue northbound. The driver, later identified as defendant Bay Carew, did drive under the influence of alcohol less safe to the extent it was less safe for the defendant to drive his vehicle. The defendant did knowingly willfully obstruct and hinder Trooper Brown by fleeing on foot on a traffic stop in order to prevent arrest. The defendant did intentionally cause back and abdominal injury to the victim, Larry King, by body slamming Mr. King's body into the ground as Mr. King was attempting to assist the officer in preventing the defendant from fleeing. The officer observed a partially opened tequila bottle in the front rest area of the defendant's vehicle during inventory search. The defendant was arrested, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant has 10 cycles. He was arrested earlier this year in this county, this jurisdiction, January 1st, 2022, for fleeing and attempting to elude. So, Your Honor, in this obstruction charge, it includes the fact that he was fleeing from the police officer. So we are we are worried, the state's worried that he is a flight risk. He also had a April 30th, 2015 simple assault and family violence arrest out of College Park. It was by the College Park Police Department. As far as his driver's history, Your Honor, it goes all the way back to 2007 when the defendant was a juvenile. The most recent history that we've seen, Your Honor, is on December 19th, 2012. He pled nolo for speeding out of Fulton County Magistrate Court. June 19th, 2012, seatbelt violation out of DeKalb Records Court, and there's also a bond forfeiture indicated on said date. November 9th, 2011, failure to obey signs out of Atlanta Municipal Court. These are all convictions, Your Honor. On 2011, he was convicted of, July 2011, he was convicted of speeding out of Forest Park Municipal Court. Also, bond forfeiture was indicated. And following too closely in 2011 out of Atlanta Municipal Court. Your Honor, as remote as these charges sound and are, now we're facing a DUI coupled with a simple battery and the fact that this defendant was fleeing from said officer. So, Your Honor, we are asking for that $10,000 surety bond. It's more than justifiable given the facts of this case, the defendant's history, and with the conditions, again, of no driving, no contact with the victim, no drugs or alcohol, and no weapons, and no violations of Georgia law. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hogue?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Carew is 34 years old, Your Honor, and he is a native Atlantan. He's lived here all of his life. He has significant family ties here, which includes mother, father, aunts, and a child that he supports. He picks her up every day from school. Her name is Farah. She is 10 years old, Your Honor. He helps out the mother of the child by picking her up often, as well as dropping her off often, Your Honor. He has been working as a freelance independent contractor and exports to West Africa for the last 15 years. It is a family business. He has a high school degree, as well as he did attend Atlanta College, Metro College, where he studied business management, Your Honor. While I am hearing that there was a 2020 alleged fleeing, that is an allegation and it's an alleged fleeing, and then we're going all the way back to 2014 and 2012 for anything that they are talking about, such as speeding and charges of that nature, and the fact that he may have bond forfeitures on speeding charges. He soundly denies these charges, and especially the fleeing, as well as the simple battery, in that it was Mr. King who approached and put his hands on him first, Your Honor. So I believe that there is definite room here for questionable exactly what was going on here. We do believe that a reasonable bond of $1,000 as well as about total of $2,000 to $3,000 is more than sufficient for him to show back up, Your Honor. I'd like $1,000 on the DUI and $500 on every other one.
And Your Honor, just to state for the record, the fleeing and eluding arrest occurred on January 1st, 2022. So it was this year.
I said this year, Your Honor, but again, that's a pending case and he is innocent until proven guilty on it.
All right.
Similar with
thank you.
this.
All right. Thank you. All right, give me 1 second. All right, at this time, the defendant is going to receive a $4,500 surety bond broken down as follows. 2,000 count one, 1,500, I'm sorry, 1,000 count two, and 500 for the remaining counts. That should be the total of the 4,500. He is not to drive without a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS, and he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of this surety bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Your Honor, what's the SAP reset date again? I apologize.
It will be the 6th of September. This case will be reset to that day.
Thank you.
All right. I believe that Ms. Gant and Ms. Kim may have returned so that we could maybe do these interpreter cases.
Your Honor?
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
have position number 7, Ms. Brunson. I see that she has a private attorney.
Okay. Before we do Ms. Brunson, can we do the interpreter cases? Please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank
Position
you.
13.
As those are
Position
gonna, Those are gonna take us some, all right, those are gonna take us some time. All right, we're gonna go to the case of position 13. Madam Interpreter, I'm reminding you, you are still under oath. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia. My name is Judge Melanie Williams.
Buenas tardes, señor García. Mi nombre es Melanie Williams. Soy la jueza.
Your case number is 22 CR 005587G.
Y en su caso 22 CR 005-587G.
In which you're charged with one count of battery family violence with the offense date of August the 21st of 2022.
Y usted tiene un cargo por violencia familiar en el primer grado ocurrido el día 21 de agosto del 2022.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio y todo lo que diga será usado, puede y será usado en su contra.
And you have a right to an attorney. You have a right to an attorney, and is it Ms. Gant or Ms. Kim? This is your case, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Wanda Gant is available here to represent you.
Usted tiene derecho a tener un abogado y la señorita Gana está aquí para representarlo.
This proceeding is also being broadcast over the internet and it's being live streamed.
Este proceso está siendo publicado a través de la internet y en vivo.
That means any member of the public can watch this. Do you understand these rights?
Lo que quiere decir que cualquier miembro de público, cualquier persona en el público puede participar en este proceso. ¿Usted entendió estos derechos? Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have history, please?
Señor,
What's the name?
por
What's the
favor.
name?
13 Garcia.
Santos. All right. This is 10th arrest. Last arrest was 2020. Illegal
El
alien.
último arresto fue en el 2020.
It was for illegal alien by ICE.
Fue hecho por inmigración debido a indocumentación.
2017, same type of arrest.
En el 2017, el mismo tipo de arresto.
2009. All right. He got history out of Tennessee as well.
Él tiene antecedentes en Tennessee también.
Got a 2016 assault domestic battery conviction.
Y una sentencia por agresión y relacionado con la violencia.
2006, a drug possession conviction.
En el 2006, un dictamen por relacionado con las drogas.
I think that's good, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, I
Thank
was
you.
gonna stop there.
All right, Ms. Backus.
Creo que es todo.
Yes, Your Honor, just to make the court aware, this case has been accepted by the DA's office as an ag assault strangulation.
Este caso, para hacerle saber a la señora jueza, ha sido recibido por la Fiscalía relacionado con la estrangulación.
The transfer order has also been sent to Ms. Grace.
Y se le ha enviado a la señora Grace la nota de transferencia.
This incident occurred on yesterday where officers were dispatched to the Atlanta Marriott Marquis Hotel.
Este incidente ocurrió ayer en donde la policía se envió al Atlanta Marriott Marquis Hotel.
They were called in reference to a domestic dispute.
Y la llamada se basaba en una disputa doméstica.
Upon arrival, they made contact with the occupants of the room, the caller and the victim, who is Miss Emma Sigala. Emma is spelled, well, Emma is common spelling, Sigala is S-I-G-A-L-A.
Al llegar, se hizo contacto inmediato con las dos personas, la persona que hizo la llamada, la víctima llamada Emma Sigala, el apellido se deletrea S-A-G-A-L-A.
According to Ms. Sagala, she told the officers that the defendant viewed a text message on her telephone from her child's father that upset him and it sparked an argument.
De acuerdo a la señora Sagala, le dijo a la policía que el acusado, la disputa se basó en que el acusado vio en la pantalla un mensaje de el padre del niño de ella y lo que inició la disputa.
Initially, it was just verbal, and after that, they decided to go out. They were drinking throughout the night.
Al principio la disputa fue verbal, después decidieron salir y estuvieron tomando durante la noche.
Upon returning to the hotel, Ms. Sagala said that the defendant was still going on and he was upset still about the text message. So when they got back to the room, he got aggressive, physically violent.
One moment, please. Al regresar al hotel, la señora Sagala contó que el acusado continuaba enojado con el respecto a lo del mensaje y allá al llegar a la habitación él se puso agresivo y violentamente físico, con respecto físico.
The police report indicates that she was slapped several times and that she had significant bruising and swelling to the left side of her face, as well as a busted bottom lip.
I'm sorry, bruising, madam?
Yes.
And?
She had significant bruising and swelling to the left side of her face, as well as a busted bottom lip.
El informe policial indica que ella se le había dado abofeteado, se la encontró con moretones serios y hinchazón y con el labio lesionado, el del labio de abajo.
So initially, we believed that it was just the slapping. However, our victim witness advocate spoke with Ms. Sagala, who's also on the line.
Inicialmente se creyó que solamente habían sido unos bofetones, pero después la defensora de víctimas habló y que también estaba en la línea.
So she stated that he tried to suffocate her with a pillow.
Your Honor, I object. I would ask that the state just stay within the four corners of the warrant. We do not have an aggravated strangulation case before us here. This is a misdemeanor battery.
The DA has accepted the transfer case.
All right, continue, Ms. Backus.
Thank you. So she didn't lose consciousness, but he was choking her. She could not breathe. And he was on top of her. Like I said, he placed the pillow over the face and tried to suffocate her.
One moment, please. Ella no perdió la conciencia, pero no podía respirar porque él la mantenía hacia abajo con la almohada y sofocándola. Go ahead.
When she was asked the level of pressure that was put to her neck on a 1 to 10, she stated that the pressure was above a 10. And she was fearful for her life, that she wasn't going to make it.
Cuando se le preguntó acerca de la escala del 1 al 10, el nivel de presión que ella sintió que él le había efectuado, ella dijo que estaba pasando el número 10 y que temió perder su vida al no poder respirar bien.
It was so intense, Your Honor, that she urinated on herself during the occurrence, and he said that if she got him arrested, he would kill her.
El nivel de presión fue tan intenso que la víctima se orinó y él la amenazó de que la mataría si ella lo mandaba a la cárcel.
Yes, Your Honor. So if you would like to sound for Ms. Sagala is on the line. If you would like to sound for her, the state's recommendation here is a $10,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Segala, a 1-day anger awareness, I don't even think, a stay away from the incident location, which is I believe, so Your Honor, they actually reside together in Tennessee, but this incident occurred at the Atlanta Marriott Hotel.
At the hotel, okay.
And one second, please. Quiero avisarle a su señoría que la señora Zagala está aquí en la plataforma si usted quiere dirigirse a ella, pero la fiscalía recomienda una fianza bajo garantía de $10,000, que no haya ningún contacto entre ellos, un día con una sesión de manejo sobre la ira, y también que no, el acusado no vaya al domicilio de ellos. Quiero explicarle que ellos viven juntos en Tennessee, pero este incidente ocurrió aquí en el hotel.
And the last condition was no alcohol, drugs, or weapon while out on bond, Your Honor.
Y la última condición es que quede prohibido el uso de drogas y alcohol durante su sentencia.
Nothing further.
Nada más.
Ms. Gant, would you prefer to go first, or would you like to hear from the victim first?
The victim may go, the alleged victim may go first, but I would ask that she limit her testimony to her desires for contact, and I would just let the court know that my client does not want any contact whatsoever.
Quisiera avisarle que todo esto hubo una inhabilidad para decirle que mi cliente no quiere tener contacto con ella más.
All right, Ms. Segala, if you would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. You're not required to. Would you like to make a statement at this time?
Yes, ma'am. I fear for my life.
Hold on. Before you start talking, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please continue. Go ahead.
Okay, I just don't feel like it's fair then that he gets to be free.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance outside of scope.
It's not outside the scope. This goes directly to the Ayala factor.
All right, go ahead, continue. I'm allowing it. Ms. Segala, continue.
He tried to kill me in that hotel, and all I can think about was my children. That's how I got the power or strength to get up from that, to hit him and get him off of me. But I felt like he was going to
object. This is prejudicial. This is not a trial or preliminary hearing, Your Honor.
Ms. Segala, one question. I don't want you to state your address, but I would like to put a stay away, since you've indicated you don't want to have any contact with him. Is there a way that you could put into the chat feature just to the Fulton County? If you scroll through the chat, you'll see Fulton County State Court and Ms. Katrina Lewis. If you could put in your address so that I could issue a stay away from your address in Tennessee as well.
Yes, ma'am.
It's clear that you don't want to speak with him or have any further contact with him. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court at this time?
I mean, that's it. I'm just scared. I don't want him near me or my children. And because he's told me multiple times, and my dad, the only reason he never did nothing to me in Tennessee was because he was afraid of my dad.
Continue, Ms. Segala. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And so that's why he took me all the way down there to do what he did. I just don't want him near me or none of my family.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you coming to court to make that statement. Let's let interpretation try to catch up.
Thank you, Your Honor. Señor, la señora ha expresado que ella no quiere tener más contacto con usted porque teme por su vida y de que usted la mate. No quiere que usted esté cerca más de ella o de los niños, y también que ella piensa que fue por eso mismo que usted la trajo fuera de su casa para poder darle este trato. Lo que le pidió la jueza es que por favor ella le dé el domicilio en Tennessee para ponerle una orden de prohibición de entrada hacia usted.
All right, is there anything further from, I'm sorry, Ms. Gant, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Santos Garcia is 39 years old and has been this is his first time visiting Atlanta, Your Honor.
El señor Santos García tiene 39 años de edad y es la primera vez que visita Atlanta, su señoría.
He informs me that he and the complaining witness, Ms. Emma Sagala, were visiting on vacation.
Él me indicó que la señora Emma Sagalo y él estaban visitando por primera vez en Atlanta en vacaciones.
He is the proud father of a 7-year-old, and he also has family support, a brother in Tennessee.
Él es el orgulloso padre de la menor de 7 años y también tiene un hermano en Tennessee.
He completed high school, well, to the 10th grade in Mexico, and he is currently employed in construction.
Él terminó el 10º grado de la secundaria en México y él trabaja en la construcción.
My client denies the allegations and he is presumed innocent. And again, Your Honor, this is a battery family violence first offense charge.
Y también él niega los alegatos, él se le considera inocente, su cargo es por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, de un cargo primario.
Again, he denies the allegations. He informs me that he was attacked and he was merely defending himself. In fact, he tried to leave to avoid the situation escalating more than it did.
Él de nuevo niega los alegatos. Él me ha informado que él fue el que fue atacado, que él trató de defenderse saliendo de la situación para aminorar o minimizar la situación de violencia.
Bond should not be punitive based on the state's prejudicial presentation, and I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Garcia's behalf for this misdemeanor.
La fianza no tiene que tener condiciones o de acuerdo a la declaración prejudicial que tiene por parte de la fiscalía. Por eso yo quisiera pedirle a su señoría una fianza bajo firma en este momento para mi cliente.
And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, and I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000.
Y si su señoría considera de que una fianza bajo firma no es recomendable, quisiera que considerara una fianza no mayor de $1,000.
We are unopposed to the no contact and stay away provisions, but would ask for a one-time law enforcement escort to the incident location and also to the residence in Tennessee so that Mr. Garcia may retrieve whatever belongings he may have there.
Y pedimos que no estamos opuestos a que se emita una orden de distanciamiento, pero sí quisiera pedir por mi cliente que se le dé una oportunidad de ir escoltado por un oficial de policía al hotel donde ocurrió el accidente y a la residencia de Tennessee para poder él recoger todas sus pertenencias personales.
Thank you, and nothing further from the defense.
Gracias y nada más de parte de la defensa.
Anything further from the state?
I don't think the state has to inform the court that asking for a $1,000 surety bond is completely inappropriate in this type of case. And
okay, no need to make that. Let's keep going. We have
You're right.
positions. Let's please leave that to me. All right. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $15,000 surety bond. He is to have absolutely no contact with the victim, last name Sagala. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to the hotel and as well to the victim's address to retrieve any possessions or items he may have. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further from either the state or defense?
Se le impone una fianza de $15,000. Se ordena que no tener contacto con la señora Sagala y se le otorga una sola oportunidad para ir al lugar del incidente y también en la residencia de Tennessee y retirar todas sus pertenencias personales y queda prohibido el uso de drogas y alcohol. ¿Hay algo más de parte de la Fiscalía o de la Defensa? No,
Nothing further from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
nada
All
de
right.
parte de la
Thank
Defensa.
you.
Best of
Gracias.
luck to you, Mr. Garcia.
Buena
That
suerte,
concludes your
señor
case.
García. Aquí termina su caso hoy.
Next, position 14, Senor Gomez.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Gomez. Your case is 22 CR 005591D.
Buenas tardes, señor Gómez. Su caso es 22-CR005591D.
In this case, you're charged with 1 count of DUI less safe, 1 count of driving without a valid license.
En este caso, usted tiene un cargo por manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol y segundo, manejar sin licencia válida.
1 count of driving improper or erratic lane change.
Por manejo inapropiado o cambio de carril incorrecto o errático.
And 1 count of driving too closely.
Y por conducir muy cerca de otro vehículo.
With the offense date of August 21st of 2022.
Y este incidente ocurrió el 21 de agosto del 2022.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga puede y será usado en su contra.
You also have a right to an attorney, and Ms. Gant is here to represent you today.
Usted tiene derecho a tener un abogado y la señorita Gana está aquí para representarlo.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet. It's also being recorded.
Este proceso está publicado en la internet y también está siendo grabado.
That means any member of the public can log on and watch this.
Es decir, que cualquier persona en el público puede observar esta sesión.
Do you understand your rights as I just explained?
¿Entendió sus derechos que le acabo de explicar?
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Señor
20.
Howard.
2011, driving without a valid license conviction.
Hay una convicción por manejar sin licencia en el 2011.
This is second already.
Esta es la segunda.
Thank you. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on yesterday, and an officer was dispatched to assist in a traffic stop.
Este incidente ocurrió ayer cuando un oficial se lo envió a una detención de tránsito.
Upon arrival, the initiating officer had observed the vehicle fail to maintain lane and follow too closely.
Al llegar, el policía inicialmente observó que el vehículo no se había mantenido dentro del carril y había seguido de muy cerca a otro vehículo.
Upon approaching the driver, who was later identified as the defendant, his eyes were red and watery and his speech was slurred and slow.
Al acercarse al conductor, que es el acusado hoy, el oficial observó ojos rojizos, como cristalinos, y también balbuceaba y hablaba lentamente.
The defendant advised the officer that he did not have a valid driver's license, which GCIC confirmed.
El acusado le explicó al policía que no tenía una licencia válida, lo que el oficial pudo comprobar después.
The defendant exhibited difficulty maintaining his balance when standing still, and he was consistently swaying front to back and side to side.
El acusado demostró tener dificultad en mantener su equilibrio y se observó que él se movía de lado a lado y de frente hacia atrás.
The officer also smelled alcoholic beverage coming from his person and asked him, and he admitted to consuming Modelo beer approximately an hour prior to the stop.
El policía pudo oler el aliento alcohol, lo que después se confirmó que se había tomado una cerveza Modelo 1 hora antes de la detención del acusado.
Your Honor, the state is asking for on $6,500 surety bond on count 1, $5,000, and on the remaining 3 counts, $500. No alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and no driving as a bond condition. Nothing further.
Se pide una fianza de $6,500 por el primer cargo y $5,000 en total por de los 3 restantes. Queda prohibido el uso de drogas y alcohol y armas, y queda prohibido el manejar sin licencia.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Alexander Gomez Panina is 40 years old and has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 21 years.
Su señoría, el señor Gómez Piñeda Alexander, tiene 40 años y ha estado en la región de Atlanta por 21 años.
He has family here, including a wife and 3 sons, ages 15, 12, and 9.
Él tiene su esposa aquí y también a sus hijos con edades de 15, 12 y 9 años.
He attended high school in Mexico, where he has 1 year of high school.
Él terminó 1 año en la escuela secundaria en México.
He is currently employed at a local restaurant and has been in that position for the last 2.5 years.
Él está empleado en un restaurante local y él ha estado trabajando allí durante los últimos 2 años y medio.
My client denies the allegations and he is presumed innocent. I am requesting a signature bond in accordance with the report that I received.
One moment, please. Mi cliente niega los alegatos y se lo presume inocente. Yo pido una fianza bajo firma de acuerdo a todos los detalles presentados en el informe policial.
That he is recommended for a signature bond, that his last arrest is quite remote.
Él cumple los requisitos para recibir una fianza bajo firma, dado que el último arresto es muy remoto en el tiempo.
And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for a bond of no more than $2,000 total.
Y su señoría considera que él no cumple los requisitos para recibir una fianza bajo firma, pediré una fianza bajo garantía que no pasen los $2,000.
The bond breakdown is $1,000 for DUI less safe.
Serían $1,000 por el cargo de manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol.
$500 for driving and proper lane change.
$500 por manejo inapropiado o cambio de carril errático.
No, correction, that would be $500 for driving without a valid license.
Perdón, una corrección. $500 de multa por manejar sin licencia válida.
And $250 for the remaining driving and proper lane change and driving following too closely.
Y $250 de multa por el cargo de manejo inapropiado o cambio de carril errático, y $250 por conducir muy cerca de otro vehículo.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nada más. Gracias, señoría.
All right, at this time, the defendant is going to receive a $5,000 split bond. On count 1, it'll be a $2,500 surety bond. For the remaining counts, it'll be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail for count 2, a $1,000 signature bond through the jail for count 3, and a $500 signature bond through the jail for count 4, for the total of a $2,500 signature bond through the jail and a $2,500 surety bond for count 1. He is to not drive unless he has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of this bond.
Las fianzas se establece de la siguiente manera. Se va a dividir. Por el primer cargo serán $2,500 de multa bajo garantía. Y para el cargo 2, 3 y 4 es una fianza de $1,000 por caso. Quedaría entonces un total de $2,500 por fianza bajo garantía por el primer cargo y los otros 3 son $2,500 con fianza bajo firma. Queda prohibido manejar sin licencia a no ser que obtenga una licencia emitida por el Departamento de Transporte y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
Anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing, thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing
más?
further, thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
No, nada
best of
más.
luck to you, sir.
Mucha suerte, señor.
Next,
All right.
we have position 28, Senor Sanchez Penaloza. Oh, this third one right there.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Sanchez Penaloza. Your case number is 22 CR 005599F.
Buenas tardes, señor Sánchez Peñalosa. Su caso tiene un número 22 CR 05599F.
In which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence.
Su acusación indica un cargo de golpes y lesiones simples y violencia familiar.
With the offense date of August the 20th of 2022.
Y el incidente ocurrido en la fecha 20 de agosto del 2022.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga puede y será usado en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney, and Ms. Kim is available to represent you today.
Usted tiene el derecho a tener un abogado y la señorita Kim está aquí representándolo.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet and it's also being recorded.
Este proceso está publicado en la internet y también está siendo grabado.
Do you understand these rights as I just explained them to you?
¿Usted entendió estos derechos constitucionales que le acabo de explicar?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Howard.
Señorita Howard.
Ms. Howard.
Number 28, right?
Yes.
Señor Howard.
All right, this is 5th arrest?
Este es el, did you say 5th, sir?
Yes.
Este es el 5º arresto.
He had a 2014 possession of an imitation controlled substance, 2 counts.
2 cargos en el 2014 por tenencia de sustancias no legalizadas.
He had a 2017 and 2 2019 driving without a valid license conviction.
Tiene uno en el 2017 y dos convicciones en el 2019 por manejar sin licencia.
That's all.
Eso es todo.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan.
Yes, Your Honor, this offense did occur on August the 20th, 2022. Officers responded to 855 East Park Ridge Circle in reference to a physical domestic dispute call. Once they arrived on scene, they made contact with the victim in this case.
One moment, please.
Yeah, let interpretation catch up.
Thank you. Este incidente ocurrió el 20 de agosto del 2022 y en donde los oficiales respondieron a una llamada con el domicilio de 855 East Park Circle. Cuando los oficiales llegaron ahí, when the police arrived,
When the police arrived, they made contact with the victim in this case, Mrs. Jasmine Villarreal Riviera.
Cuando llegaron los oficiales a la residencia, hicieron contacto con la víctima, Jasmine Rivera.
Jasmine is spelled Jazmin, last name Villarreal Riviera, Villareal, and Riviera, Rivera.
La señorita Jasmine, Jazmini, Villarreal, perdón, Villario, Rivera, Rivera.
Ms. Riviera is the wife of the defendant in this case.
La señorita o señora Rivera es la esposa del acusado en este caso.
When officers made contact, they noted that she was standing outside and that her shirt was ripped completely open, exposing her undergarments and skin.
Cuando los policías llegaron, hicieron contacto con la víctima, notaron que ella estaba fuera de la residencia con su camisa rajada, que no se podía observar su ropa interior.
She was crying and she reported to officers that she had gotten into an argument with her husband, the defendant in this case.
Ella estaba llorando y les comunicó a los oficiales que ella había estado involucrada en una discusión con su esposo, el acusado en este caso.
The argument became physical when she told him to leave the premises and he decided not to.
La discusión se pasó a un nivel físico cuando ella le dijo que se fuera de la residencia y él refutó.
He grabbed her by the arms and threw her to the ground.
Él la agarró por el brazo y la tiró al piso.
And when she began to try to pull away from the defendant, her shirt was ripped in the process.
Y cuando ella trató de retirarse del lado del acusado, fue cuando ocurrió el rasgado de la camisa de ella.
In this case, the state has a concern about the risk of reoffense and intimidation of the witness, given that they live together and are married.
En este caso hay una posibilidad de que vuelva a ocurrir este incidente y también la intimidación en este caso del acusado debido a que ellos están casados y viven juntos.
We spoke to the victim in this case and she indicated that she did not want to prosecute. However, we do have a concern for the specific danger of this victim and the intimidation factor, because she did state that she needs this defendant. So we have a concern for her safety in this situation.
Cuando hablamos con la víctima, nos notamos que no quería que este caso fuese procesado, pero la fiscalía tiene una preocupación por la manera en que ocurrió este incidente.
Given the facts and the IR factors present in this case, the state is going to be requesting a $2,500 surety.
Debido a los hechos presentados en este incidente, la fiscalía pide $2,500 de fianza bajo garantía.
No further contact with the victim in this case.
Que no, una orden de distanciamiento con la víctima en este caso.
Third party child contact.
Que se utilice una tercera parte para poder tener contacto con el menor o menores.
Stay away from the incident location.
Mantenerse alejado del lugar del incidente.
One day anger awareness.
Tomar una clase de concientización de la ira.
No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y de armas y también de todo incumplimiento de la ley de Georgia.
And it's come to my attention that the victim may be on the line if the Your Honor would like to sound for her.
Se me llamó la atención de que la víctima está aquí en la plataforma si su señoría prefiere hablar con ella.
Ms. Duncan, can you give me that stay away address one more time?
The stay away address is 855 East Park Ridge Circle.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Kim, would you like to go first, or would you like to hear from the victim first?
I would like to do first, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead. Please proceed, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Mr. Sanchez Penaloza is 33 years old, Your Honor.
El señor Sánchez Penaloza tiene 33 años de edad, su señoría.
And he has been here in Georgia for about 10 years.
Él ha estado aquí en Georgia aproximadamente 10 años.
His wife and he have 3 children.
Él y su esposa tienen 3 hijos.
7, 5, and 8 months old.
De edades 7 años, 5 años y 8 meses.
And they reside together, and both of their name is on the lease. Oh, actually, his name is on the lease.
Ellos todos residen juntos y el contrato de arrendamiento está bajo el nombre de él.
And he has been working as a landscaping artist, as a for 8 years.
Mi cliente ha estado trabajando en el arte del paisaje por 8 años.
His highest level of education is graduation from elementary school.
Él completó la escuela elementaria o primaria.
The parties do not want to have any, they want to have a no further violent contact. They want to continue their contact because of their children.
Ellos prefieren tener una orden de no contacto violento debido a que tienen hijos juntos.
So we would like to request for a signature on bond.
Por eso pedimos que le otorgue una fianza bajo firma.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gracias, señoría.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim. At this time, I'm going to sound for Ms. Villarreal Rivera. If you would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so, but you're not required to.
Señora Villarreal Rivera, puede usted hacer una declaración, no está obligada a hacerlo, solo si lo prefiere.
Would you like to make a statement?
¿Quiere usted hablar, dar una declaración?
Sí.
Yes.
Please raise your right hand.
Levante su mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
¿Usted jura decir la verdad y nada más que la verdad bajo la so pena de perjurio?
Yeah.
I do. Sí. Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down.
Puede bajar su mano.
What would you like to tell the court?
¿Qué quiere decirle a esta jueza?
Que yo necesito que, pues, yo le voy a dar otra oportunidad a él por los niños y pues que lo necesitamos porque los niños me están preguntando por su papi.
Okay, one moment, please. I need, actually, I want to give him another opportunity for our children and we need him because the children are asking me about him. Go ahead, ma'am. Siga, señora, por favor, y hágame un poquito de pausa.
Sí, pues él es el sostén de la casa y nosotros lo necesitamos a él.
He supports all of us, our home, so we need him.
Yo quiero el contacto con él, yo voy a seguir con él.
I'm going to stay with him. I want to maintain contact with him.
All right, thank you, ma'am, for making that statement today.
Gracias por hacer esa declaración hoy, señora.
Anything further from either the state or the defense?
I just have one question for the victim.
Tengo una pregunta para la víctima.
Very briefly, Ms. Duncan.
Rápido, señora Duncan.
On August 20th, 2022, did the defendant in this case, your husband, throw you to the ground?
El 20 de agosto del 2022, ¿su esposo la tiró al piso?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further from the state.
Gracias. Nada más de la fiscalía.
Oh.
All right. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services.
En este momento, el acusado va a recibir una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
He is to complete a one-day anger awareness course.
Tiene que completar, I'm sorry, you're on a one-day.
One-day anger awareness course.
Thank you. Una clase de un día del curso de concientización de la ira.
He is to have no further contact with the victim at this time.
Él no puede tener contacto en este momento con la víctima.
He can coordinate transport of the children through a third party.
Se puede coordinar el transporte de los niños a través de una tercera parte.
And he must stay away from the address on Hartridge Circle.
Y él debe mantenerse alejado del domicilio en East Park Ridge Circle.
He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items.
Él tiene el derecho de la oportunidad de ir con un oficial a retirar sus pertenencias personales solo una vez.
And he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of that signature bond through pretrial.
Queda prohibido el uso de alcohol, drogas y armas a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
And the provisions regarding contact can be revisited at a later date.
Y la disposición de no tener contacto puede ser tratada nuevamente en este caso.
Is there anything further from the state of the defense?
¿Algo más?
Nothing further from the state.
I got a question. Does
Tengo
he
una
speak,
pregunta.
does he speak English at all?
¿Él habla inglés? ¿Algo de inglés? ¿Señor habla inglés?
No.
Well, Mr. Howard, if he does not speak it at all, is there any option for interpretation through pretrial?
Yeah, he gonna we'll have an interpreter when he go to orientation. I was just wanting to know so I can make note of it.
Would you like me to confirm it, Your Honor, directly?
Yes,
and
please
ask him?
confirm. Yes.
Señor, ¿me está escuchando?
Sí.
¿Usted habla inglés?
No.
No, he doesn't, Your Honor.
So just let him know that he'll have to report for orientation via Zoom, and it'll be an interpreter on it.
Señor, usted va a tener una sesión de orientación para presentarse a través de Zoom, como dije, y habrá un intérprete presente.
Okay.
And let me get his phone number.
¿Me puede dar su número de teléfono, por favor, para el señor Howard?
678
Ajá.
618 7083.
8383.
Ajá.
678-618-7083.
Thank you.
Gracias.
All right. I believe this case is now concluded. Best of luck to you, sir.
Creo entonces que este caso ha terminado. Le deseo la mejor suerte, señor.
All right, Madam Interpreter, I believe your business is finished with the court. You can be excused as well. Have
Thank
a great
you.
afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Can we now go to Mr. Walsh's case, Ms. Brunson?
Ms. Brunson, have a seat, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, has courtroom 2 heard their right? Courtroom 3 heard their rights?
These are the ladies now that we have in courtroom 3.
Have they
no.
heard their rights? They have not.
No, Your Honor.
All right, all defendants, please pay attention. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It is also being recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. Ms. Brunson, your case is 22 CR 00559-7J, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence with the offense date of August 21st of 2022. Do you understand those rights as I just explained them to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2008. Drive without a valid license.
All right, thank you. Miss Tortorella, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. For this case, we're asking for a $4,500 surety bond. The conditions is that the defendant have no contact with the victim, her husband, Jeremy Brunson. First name is traditionally spelled and last name is the same as the defendant's. To stay away from the location at 625 Arncliffe Court. The street address is spelled ARN as in Nancy, CLIFFE, Court in Johns Creek. 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 21st, 2022, victim Jeremy Brunson advised his wife, defendant Aline Brunson, punched him when they got out of their car at the incident location, 625 Arncliffe Court, causing visible swelling under his left eye. Mr. Jeremy and the defendant advised they are married and live in the same household and have 1 child together. And all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant has 2 cycles in her criminal history. We are asking for that no contact as this occurred yesterday and there hasn't been enough of a cooling off period, Your Honor. So for that reason, because it's a domestic violence case and because there hasn't been enough of a cooling off period, we're asking for that $4,500 surety bond and that no contact provision. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walsh?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Miss Alini Brunson. She's 36 years old. She's lived in the Atlanta Alpharetta area, Johns Creek now for 15 years. She is married. They've been married since November 2021, but they've been together for 5 years. They do have 1 child together. Her name is Juliana. Miss Brunson also has a son, Nathan, who is 9, who has special needs. Jeremy Brunson is here on the Zoom. He wants to have contact with his wife, and he has made that clear to me, and he's here to testify to that. Alini has no significant criminal history. Like you heard, her only prior arrest was in 2008 for driving without a license. It was reduced to expired license. Alini's, she's met with pretrial services, I understand, but we'd request either a signature bond or a good bond, as she does have, she's a nurse. She works at Emory Johns Creek Hospital, and then she also cares for a child from a previous relationship who has special needs. And again, Mr. Brunson, he's present on the Zoom hearing. He wants contact with his wife. I've spoken to his wife as well about this potential provision. She wants to have contact with him. Like I said, they have a child together. So like we would ask for either signature bond with no violent contact or $1,000 bond with no violent contact.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brunson, I see that you are on the Zoom conference. If you would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. Of course, you're not required to do so. Would you like to make a statement at this time?
Yes, ma'am. I just want my wife.
Before you begin, please raise your right hand. I need to place you under oath. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you put your hand down. What would you like to tell the court at this time?
I just want my wife home. And we need her.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Is there anything further from either the state or the defense before I issue my decision?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to ask the victim a question, state's witness.
Very briefly, Ms. Tortorella, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Brunson, good afternoon. Just wanted to ask, did your wife, Ms. Brunson, strike you?
Yes, we got in a little fight.
Thank you, Mr. Brunson. And as you can see, Your Honor, he does still have that swelling on his eye. So we are asking whatever your decision may be for now, a no contact order, as there has not been enough of a cooling off period, Your Honor. Nothing further.
All right. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $2,000 surety bond. She is to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim, last name Brunson, and she is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of this bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Ms. Brunson, do you understand everything?
Yes.
We'll work on getting the bond set for you. Thank you.
Next, we have position number 4, Ms. Bass.
All right.
Judge,
Good
that
afternoon.
concludes my business. Maybe excuse.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Walsh. Yes, I forgot to excuse you. Have a great afternoon, Mr. Walsh. Take care.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. All right, at this time, we have the case of Vilma Bass. Ms. Bass, your case number is 22 CR 005585H, in which you're charged with 1 count of DUI, 1 count of driving improper or erratic lane change, and possession of an open container of alcohol with the offense date of August the 21st. Do you understand your constitutional rights? Is that a yes? All right. Seeing if this is her first arrest, we'll go straight to Ms. Tortorello.
Yes, Your Honor. For the DUI, the state's asking for a $6,000 surety bond. For the erratic lane change charge, a $500 surety bond. For the open container, a $1,000 surety. So that would be a total of $7,500, and that would be a surety bond. The conditions is no driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 21st, 2022 at 2:40 a.m., officers of the Roswell Police Department were dispatched to the area of 600 Crossville Road, which is the McDonald's in Roswell, in reference to a possible vehicle accident. Dispatch advised they had received notification from BMW Assist that the vehicle had been in an accident with airbag deployment and was in the above area. And the area stated, I apologize for the record. While officers were en route, dispatch pulled up traffic cameras in the area and located a vehicle in the median that was facing the wrong way. Officers arrived on scene and located the vehicle, a blue BMW SUV that had originally been traveling westbound on Highway 92. The vehicle crossed over the median, struck a tree, and ended half up on the median and half in the left lane of the eastbound lanes, still facing westbound. When arrived on scene, officers were speaking with the female later identified as defendant Vilma Bass, who said she was dizzy and having anxiety. The defendant declined medical attention. The defendant advised officers she was coming from a sports bar on Medlock Road. The defendant stated she did not have much to drink, but had her last alcoholic beverage about an hour ago. The defendant had advised she had one drink before her last one and had 2 drinks total, and that they were cosmopolitans. Officers observed the defendant exit the car and that she had to immediately brace herself on the vehicle, to which the defendant stated she was dizzy and anxious. An ambulance was requested to come to the scene. The defendant declined blowing into the portable breath test. The defendant described to police how she ended up on the accident and that it had been raining all night and she was confused and she was just trying to get home. Officers asked what drink she had in the car with her, to which the defendant replied it was fruit punch. The officer asked if the defendant was okay with him smelling the drink, to which the defendant stated she was okay with it. The officer went to the vehicle and removed the clear cup that contained pink liquid and an orange slice. The cup was in the front center console and easily accessible by the defendant. Other officers on scene smelled the cup and the odor of an alcoholic beverage was detected. The liquid was dumped and the cup continued to give off the odor of an alcoholic beverage. After being placed under arrest, Miss Bass was read the Georgia implied consent notice and requested the state administered test of her blood. The defendant declined, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, she has one cycle. This is her first in life. However, her driver's history goes all the way back to 1988. The most recent one, Your Honor, is a 2005 speeding conviction out of Cobb County State Court. Also, on said date, it indicates bond forfeiture. This was out of the driver's history. A 1989 speeding, Cobb State Court also indicated on said date a bond forfeiture. For that reason, Your Honor, as you see, she does have some traffic history, though very remote. Now we're facing a DUI before us. So for that reason, there was an accident involved. Thankfully, it didn't involve another vehicle. So we are concerned for public safety. So again, for that reason, we're asking for that $7,500 surety bond with the conditions already stated before this court. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hogue?
Yes, Your Honor. As you can see, Ms. Bass is 63 years old, and this is her literally her first arrest. Okay, so that's a pretty significant thing here. Currently, she is a teacher at Fulton County Schools in Alpharetta. She's been doing that for 13 years, Your Honor. She has been in Georgia for 30 years. She has a son and a daughter, both located here. She has a high school degree, as well as a bachelor's and a master's in public administration prior to being a teacher. Amongst other things, as someone her age has had more than a few careers. She worked for the Department of the Army as a civilian doing management and management analysis for over 10 years doing that as well, Your Honor. So she has significant family ties, significant work ties. She's not a flight risk whatsoever. Her criminal history is, we're going back, let's see, 2005, which that's 17 years ago, and a 1989, which is 33 years ago, is trying to go far back on showing that she had some tickets, which in 63 years, that's really not bad. Also, Your Honor, as noted, a airbag was deployed. She had said she was feeling dizzy even before that and anxious, as well as an airbag had deployed. So I'm sure that she also felt very dizzy afterwards. She denies these allegations, Your Honor. And as far as, like they said, they dumped out the liquid in the container. So whether it had alcohol or not, we will really never know. So Your Honor, she obviously has been approved for a signature bond, Your Honor, and I do believe that this situation definitely warrants a signature bond. In lieu of that, if you decide not to, Your Honor, we do believe that a total bond of $1,000 is all that's warranted here.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant's going to receive a split bond. On count one, it's going to be a $2,500 surety bond. Count two will be a $500 signature bond through the jail. And count three, it'll be a $1,000 surety bond. So that's a total of a $3,500 surety and a $500 signature through the jail for a total of a $4,000 split bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next? I'm sorry, best of luck to you, ma'am. I apologize. Who do we have next?
Position number 9, Ms. Rhonda Clark.
Okay, position number 9. All right, good afternoon, Ms. Clark. Your case number is 22 CR 005604Y, in which you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking a misdemeanor with the offense date of July the 24th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
28 total between Georgia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. April 2021, shoplifting, misdemeanor obstruction. Before that was an 08 burglary, FTA. An 05 damage to property conviction. That's the Georgia history. Let me go to Maryland next. We got 2018 theft, 2017 theft, another 2017 theft, 2017 possession of drug paraphernalia, 2014 possession of marijuana, another 2014 marijuana, 2014 she had a couple of FTAs. Want me to go to Pennsylvania?
No, I think that. Well, the particular defendant does not have an attorney. This is a conflict case, so please give me as much information as you can, Mr. Howard.
All right. Pennsylvania got a 2011 retail theft that was dismissed. She got recklessly endangering, simple assault, possession of instrument of a crime, those, and ag assault. Those are all dismissed in 2010 in Philadelphia. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right. At this time, what's going to happen, Ms. Clark, is you have a right to an attorney here today, but because the public defender's office has a conflict, they are not able to represent you today. Normally, you'd have an attorney from the conflict defender's office present to assist you, but no one was available. So what I'm going to do today is I am going to assign a bond to you based upon all the information that is before me. If I feel that I cannot give you a signature bond today, I will also reset you to tomorrow's SCA calendar in the hope that a conflict attorney will be present to assist you, okay? All right, whose case is this for the state?
Tortorella.
Oh, I'm sorry, good, okay, the Zoom did something weird. Please proceed, Ms. Tortorella.
Yes, Your Honor, the state's asking for a $2,000 surety bond, that the defendant stay away from the incident location at 960 Trotters Farm Road. That's spelled Trotters Farm Road in Fairburn. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, an anti-theft class, no violations of Georgia law, and no contact with the victim, Manuel Ramirez, who is on the Zoom. Manuel is spelled M as in Mary, A-N-U-E-L. The last name is Ramirez, which is R-A-M as in Mary, I-R-E-Z. Your Honor, in this case on July 24th, 2022, the defendant was caught on Mr. Ramirez's Ring camera taking an air compressor from his property. It was in front of his garage. On the Ring camera, the officer was able to observe the defendant take the air compressor, which was valued at $1,500 or less, with the intention to deprive said owner, Mr. Ramirez, of his property by taking it. These events occurred at the incident location, 960 Trotters Farm Road in Fairburn, Fulton County, Georgia. Nothing for, and Your Honor, also, just to add, this defendant has 28 cycles. She's a multi-state offender. You've heard she has various theft violations on her record, as well as she's been arrested for aggravated assault, some violations there. And for that reason, Your Honor, we do feel a $2,000 surety bond is more than reasonable for this matter. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna hear from you, Mr. Ramirez, shortly. Give me one moment. If you would like to make a statement. Mr. Ramirez, would you like to make a statement? All right, please unmute your camera. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
And I'm gonna very much limit your testimony today because the defendant is not here represented. And this is not really a case where we're testing the facts here, but I will hear from you briefly. Go ahead, Mr. Ramirez.
Very well. The only thing I would like to add is that the neighbors also had her on camera casing out their garages as well, that right before she came onto my property. So she's obviously out here, looking at other people's property. She's shaking her head no, but it's all on camera. Also, she was on her way to my shed before she went ahead and came onto my property on the side. 28 cycles, I think it's very unsatisfactory.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramirez. You're not here to argue the state's case, but I appreciate that.
No
All right.
problem.
All right. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $1,000 surety bond. She is to have no further contact with the alleged victim in this case and stay away from the address on Trotters Farm Road. I will also reset her to the SEA calendar tomorrow, in the hopes that a conflict attorney will be present to assist her. All right, I believe that concludes Ms. Clark's case. We can move to the next position.
Position 10, Cummings.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Cummings. Your case number is 22 CR 005605C, in which you're charged with one count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer with the offense date of August the 20th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
9th arrest. We got 2011 arrest out of California for battery DV. 2006 battery DV conviction. He got a hold out of Gwinnett. It's an FTA warrant for traffic. 2018 marijuana out of Cobb. 2016 probation violation. This probation came from a first offender, possession of a controlled substance, 2010. That's it.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For this defendant's case, for the obstruction charge, we're asking for a $1,000 surety bond. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 20th, 2022, Officer C. Johnson was on an approved extra job at 1919 Metropolitan Parkway. And he was in the process of handling a larceny from an auto call with the victim and defendant, David Cummings, was involved. But during his investigation of the case and Mr. Cummings, he noticed that he had a failure to appear warrant. And so therefore he was arrested, and during the arrest, he resisted arrest by pulling away his arms and flexing his arms to prevent from being handcuffed. And then he was placed inside, he was eventually placed inside the vehicle, but that's where the obstruction charge comes from. And this occurred in Fulton County, Georgia, Your Honor. So we're asking for that $1,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, no weapons. This defendant does have a hold, Your Honor. He was arrested for because he had a failure to appear, so it's very indicative. He's a flight risk, and not to mention he does have history in his criminal history, so he's more than likely to reoffend. So we do feel $1,000 surety bond is more than reasonable for this defendant in his matter. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Whose case is this? This is not a conflict case. Oh, it's Ms.
No,
Hope.
sorry, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Please proceed, Ms. Hope.
That's okay. Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Cummings is 36 years old. He's been in Georgia for over 11 years. He has significant family ties here, including 2 children, one that is 2 months old and one that is 12 years old, of which he is also one of the primary caregivers. He has aunts, uncles, a whole slew of family here, so he has significant family ties, Your Honor. He has an education from Clark Atlanta in mass communications. He also has now been working since 2012, so 10 years as a freelance photographer, as well as for a marketing firm here in Atlanta. So he also has significant work ties, Your Honor. His criminal history is definitely limited. We're going back to a 2010 first offender in 2018. So we're looking at 4 and 5 years, as much or even much older than that, Your Honor. And in this case, he had called the police out because his girlfriend's car had been broken into. Okay, so then they came out and, and he's trying to get that taken care of when they run his name and see that he has a failure to appear for traffic violation out of Lawrenceville, which then they became very aggressive towards him. So at that time, obviously there were some issues there, but Your Honor, we do believe that given his limited criminal history, the facts of this case, that a signature bond is definitely warranted. Otherwise, a $500 regular bond should be, a good bond should be more than sufficient to assure his attendance at court.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant will receive a $500 surety bond. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of this bond. Is there anything further from either state of the defense?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Who do we have next?
Number 6, Your Honor, here at South Annex.
Judge, I'm sorry, what was the bond amount again?
500, good. All right, we're gonna go to position 6 at the South Annex. The case of Shaquanda Bivens. Has South Annex heard their rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Bivens, your case is 22 CR 005593Y, in which you're charged with 1 count of simple battery with the offense date of August the 20th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
The 4th arrest. Last was 2016 simple battery DV of non-Parson. 2014 shoplifting. It just says bond over. And another 2014 shoplifting.
All right, thank you. That's good. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. We're asking for a $4,000 surety bond. No contact with the victim and his name, excuse me, Your Honor. His name is Sedarius Beck. That's S-E-D as a dog, A-R-I-U-S, and Beck is B-E-C-K. For the defendant to stay away from 5819 Campbellton Road in Atlanta, which is Mr. Beck's workplace. 1 day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, in this case, the defendant came to Mr. Beck's place of work at 5819 Campbellton Road, and they got into, it seems like they got into a dispute, and the defendant threw a rock at Mr. Beck, striking him in his back. Mr. Beck complained that it left his back tender and irritated. And they did place the rock into evidence. The state will do some more further investigation as to see if this warrants an aggravated assault. We need to see the size of the rock that was thrown at the victim. Your Honor, this defendant has 4 cycles. She has domestic violence history on a record, even though it's been dismissed. She was arrested for it, and here we are again with another a violent offense, a simple battery offense. For that reason, Your Honor, we do feel $4,000 surety bond with the condition stated is more than reasonable. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hogue.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Bivens is 32 years old, Your Honor. She is born and raised in Georgia here. She has everybody here from her mother to her nana and everything in between. Your Honor, she also has a high school degree from high school diploma from Forest Park. She's done college at Georgia State, Gordon State, pardon me, Atlanta Tech, now is at Clayton State University studying pre-nursing with the hopes of ultimately becoming a nurse, Your Honor. She works at Delta right now. She's been there for over a year, as well as she's working at, I think I'm going to say this right, Continuum Call Center, where they do calls for Verizon for, making sales and things. And she does both those jobs right now, and both full-time, Your Honor. She has extremely limited history. To even bring up a 2016 case that is 6 years old that never went anywhere, and we don't even know the exact date. And then we're all going back down to 2014 and some shoplifting, Your Honor. So I would not say she has any significant history here. What's important to note also is, one, even though she allegedly hit him on the back with this rock, there was no sign of anything going on. He had no marks, no bruises, no redness, no nothing. Additionally, Your Honor, she was not there, and she soundly denies all this and also says that there's a potential that she even has an alibi during this time that this allegedly happened. And that later on that day, she called the police because she was not on the scene when the police arrived here and went off, according to him, in some unknown direction. She had called the police because he shot at her and her car and shot at her tires. And so she called the police to make the report. When they came out, they didn't take a report from her. They simply arrested her. Okay. So she called the police to come out and help her. And that's when she got arrested. Your Honor, given the questionable facts in this case, the lack of any visible marks on him or any witnesses in this case, her lack of criminal history, her significant ties here with work and family, we do believe a signature bond is warranted. In the alternative, a $1,000 surety bond should be more than enough to ensure that she shows up in court.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant's going to receive a $1,500 surety bond. She is to have no contact with the alleged victim, last name Beck. I am going to sound for Mr. Beck. Mr. Beck, if you're present on the Zoom conference and wish to be heard, I'm sounding for you at this time. All right, hearing none. She must also stay away from the address on Campbellton Road and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as the condition of that surety bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Bivens. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position number 16, please.
Okay, is this
Your Honor, was
Johnny?
that position 1-6 or 1-5?
I think it's 1-6, correct?
Yes.
Okay, this is the case of Johnny Holland, case number 22 CR 005596J, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence and 1 count of criminal trespass, each with the offense date of August the 20th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
14 total. 2008 burglary conviction. 2009 trespass conviction. 2009 probation. 2014 battery dead dog. He also has history out of Florida. Probation violations from 2015. That's forgery from 2015. That's it.
All right. Let's see, Ms. Backus.
Yes, Your Honor. I do not have all the factual basis on this case. What I do know is that the incident occurred on yesterday. It appears that during the course of an argument with the defendant's live-in fiance, Miss Jasmine Pittman, he intentionally struck her window on the driver's side of her vehicle, breaking it. And he also hit her in the face with an open palm, resulting in her having facial swelling and swelling of her nose and scratches to her forehead and the left side of her temple. Based on the history, Your Honor, and really no cooling down period, the state is asking for $4,500 surety bond for the battery, family violence, and a $500 surety for the criminal trespass. We're also requesting no further contact with the victim, Ms. Pittman, a stay away from that incident location. I believe it's 3056 Steeple Chase Drive in Alpharetta, a 1-day anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, thank you. I'm going to sound for Ms. Pittman. If Ms. Pittman, if you're present on this Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing none, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Johnny Holland is 33 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area with his family, including his fiancee, Miss Jasmine Pittman. They share 3 children, ages 1, 6, and 9. We are opposed to any stay away provisions at this time, Your Honor. I did have the occasion to speak with Miss Pittman. She informed me that she is working today and that she would try to speak with her manager to be able to get on the Zoom to let the court know that she wants to have contact. Mr. Holland completed 12th grade. He has some college credits in computer technical studies, but he had to drop out due to his father's passing. He is currently employed at El Casco Landscaping. He has been in that position for the last 6 months. Mr. Holland strongly denies the allegations, and my client has some history, Your Honor, but I do believe that what we heard about violence is rather remote. Therefore, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Holland's behalf. And if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then I would ask for a total bond of no more than $1,500. And that would be $500 for the criminal trespass and $1,000 for the battery. And again, we are opposed to the no contact and stay away orders. And if Your Honor orders a stay away, I would ask for one-time law enforcement escort and third-party transfer. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. At this time, the defendant's going to receive a $3,000 surety bond, $2,500 count 1, $500 count 2. He's to have no further contact with the alleged victim, last name Pittman, and stay away from the address on Steeple Chase. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to collect any items, and he can arrange for transport of his children through a third party. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And as a reminder, he will be reset to the SAP calendar on September the 6th of 2022, where this can be revisited at that time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Holland. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 2, Mr. Apuni.
All right, Mr. Apuni, your case number is 22 CR 0055 81D, and what you're charged with, one count of DUI on one count of following too closely, each with the offense date of August the 21st. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, seeing as this is his first offense, we'll go straight to, is it Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Ms. Falk.
Good
Your
afternoon, Your Honor.
recommendation?
State's recommendation is and let me just pull this up really quickly. State's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond. We are going to ask for a $4,000 surety on the DUI and a $1,000 surety on the following too closely for a total of a $5,000 surety bond. This happened after two vehicles collided. And what essentially happened was it occurred on Georgia 400 northbound around 12:30 a.m. When the vehicles collided, officers met with the defendant, smelled a strong odor of alcohol coming from his person. He stated he had 2 beers. They then performed field sobriety testing. He failed the HGN. He failed the walk and turn, missed heel to toe and did an improper turn, failed the one leg stand because he put his foot down and swayed. At that point, they made the conclusion he was unable to operate the vehicle safely. And then they read him implied consent. He initially agreed to the test, but then asked to have implied consent read again. They read it several times. And at that point, he did not agree. And so they took him into custody. So what we have concerns about, although this is the defendant's first offense, is the fact that the defendant was in a vehicle accident. So not only is he less safe to drive, but he is also in a 2-car accident. So this could have ended quite differently for both the defendant and the person in the other vehicle. And for those reasons, that is why we are asking for that bond. We are further asking that he not drive without a Georgia limited permit, and that he have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hogue.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Apuni is 40 years old, Your Honor. He has been in this country now for 15 years. He grew up in India, Your Honor. He came here on a work visa. He has a bachelor's in engineering from India, and he's worked consistently here for the last 15 years in IT field. Most recently, he's been working at Morgan Stanley for over a year now doing IT work. He has, like I said, significant work history as well as ties here to the community, Your Honor. And based on reading this, first off, he was never even charged with following too closely initially. In fact, the statement was that the other car merged over inappropriately. The following too closely was added on afterwards by the state, but it does put to question exactly who caused the accident here. He soundly denies the allegations. As we said, he is innocent until proven guilty, given that he also has what I would say is, while he speaks English and things, there are some language barriers that make it hard for him to understand some things. So again, even some of the testing could be questionable. Your Honor, he has been approved for a signature bond. I see no reason why not to give him a signature bond, as long as he follows whatever rules regarding being able to drive with a valid license. So we are asking for a signature bond, and then the alternative, a $1,000 good bond on the DUI charge and $500 on the following too close to be more than sufficient to assure his appearance at court.
And Your Honor, as I'm sure PD Hogue already knows, and I know the court knows, the state can add these charges and did add these charges as part of the accusation.
All right. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a total of a $4,000 surety. It'll be $4,000 count 1, and he'll receive it's going to be a total of a $5,000 split bond total, $4,000 count 1, and a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. He is not to drive unless he has permission or something indicating he is permitted to do so by the Georgia DDS, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing from the state defense, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 19, Mr. Jobias Jones.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Jones. Your case number is 22 CR 005603Y, in which you're charged with possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under age 18 with the offense date of August 21st. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard.
This is first adult arrest. But he got those felony cycles. 22 SC 181454. It's for ag assault on a peace officer, proper lane change, failure to keep proper lane, failure to obey traffic signs, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. It's a lot of stuff.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm sure the state will fill us in. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on yesterday. An officer responded to a shots fired called at 1935 Allison Court Southwest. The residents in the complex called 911 and informed the police that they heard about 4 to 5 gunshots near the building, and they saw a male standing in the area where the shots were coming from. The residents also called the building security and informed him of the incident. So the security officer made contact with the defendant and tried to question him about the shots, but he took off running. But as he took off running and the security officer chased him, the police pulled up at the same time, and they were able to help him and get the defendant into custody. When they did the search, the defendant had a firearm on his person. As pretrial said, he's got a 2019 entering auto, and then the other 2021 case, which the case number that he just stated on the record, that's a 19 count charge that's got fleeing, hit and run, driving without a license, theft by receiving, suspended registration, 2 counts, ag assault. There's quite a few charges that go with it. He also has I believe an FTA in 2022 as well. And so, Your Honor, we're asking for a $7,500 surety bond based on the open case, a stay away from that incident location, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Ms. Gant, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Ms. Gant's case. I saw Ms. Kim's face light up for a minute. Zoom is funny. All right, please proceed, Ms. Gant, and accept the court's apologies.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Jabias Jones is 17 years old, Your Honor. He's born and raised in the Atlanta, Georgia area. He does have family, and I had the occasion to speak to his father, Mr. Dave Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell informs me that he is a single father of 7 children, including Mr. Jones, who is 17 and a juvenile, Your Honor. The children are ages 2, 5, 7, 9, 14, and 16. His father informs me that Mr. Jones is very helpful around the house. He needs him home so that he can assist with rearing the children. In fact, Mr. Jones dropped out of school so that he could help his father to take care of the children. His father tells me that he does not have the means to pay much, if anything, toward bond because he just spent most of his money getting his children in school. Mr. Jones, he went to the 12th grade, but he did not graduate, Your Honor. He is working on his GED. He has never worked. Therefore, he does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. Your Honor, these are allegations. My client denies them, and I would ask this court to not consider my client's juvenile history. We heard extensive charges that are juvenile offenses. This is his first adult arrest. He is presumed innocent. I am requesting a signature bond, Your Honor, and if in the alternative, Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. Thank you.
Ms. Backus, just to return to you for one moment, what was the special conditions requested by the state? Was it just no alcohol, drugs, and weapons?
And to stay away from the incident location, Your Honor. But what I would say is, even though it's a juvenile history, it's still valid under the code. Not to mention, it was just last year, so it's not like it was when he was it's not a long time ago. On top of the fact that he was actually caught with the firearm on his person.
And Your Honor, he's presumed innocent at this point. These are allegations. He enjoys the presumption of innocence under the Constitution. This is a bond hearing. It is not about guilt or innocence at this point.
We have serious concern about the safety for the community, Your Honor, and just his recent history. And so again, the state is asking for that $7,500 surety and that stay away, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, nothing further.
All right, thank you both. Is there anything further from the state of defense? Both sides' arguments are duly noted by the court. Anything further? All right.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Hearing none, at this time, the defendant is going to receive a $5,000 surety bond. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he must stay away from the address on Allison Court. And that means at least 1,000 yards from that address. All right, is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 23, Mr. Ubay. Yes, you.
All right, Mr. Ubay, your case number is 22 CR 005592 G, in which you're charged with one count of simple battery family violence with the offense date of August the 20th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Second arrest, 2017 shoplifting.
All right, thank you. Ms. Duncan,
Hold on.
is that incorrect, Mr. Howard?
Hold on. Yeah, it's his first arrest. I'm sorry. Yeah, co-worker screwed this bond assessment up. So the bond assessment y'all got is incorrect. It's actually a first arrest.
Okay, thank you.
No, hold on. That might be on me.
It's a second.
Yeah, it's a second. It's an alias on here that says Jeffrey PV. So that's what it was. The first cycle is for Jeffrey PV. The second one is for this defendant. So it's second arrest.
All right, thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, this incident did occur on August the 20th, 2022. Officers responded to 9995 Old Dogwood Road in reference to a domestic dispute that had occurred at 61 Old Holcomb Bridge Way. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the victim in this case, Stephen Maxwell. He indicated to officers that his partner, the defendant in this case, had become upset because of the responsibilities related to dog ownership between the two of them. And at some point during the verbal altercation, it became physical, and the defendant struck him with a metal shower rod on his left leg. After officers spoke with both parties, they placed the defendant in this case in custody for simple battery, family violence. We have concern here about the risk of reoffense, given that there is a relationship between these parties, and we're also concerned about intimidation of the witness in this case, given the relationship espoused by the police officers in the report, and given that the officers decided that the defendant in this case was likely the primary aggressor. We're concerned about the safety of this particular victim. For those reasons, the all the factors present in the case and the circumstances and the violence alleged, the state is going to be requesting a $2,500 surety bond. No further contact with the victim in this case. Let's stay away from 61 Old Holcomb Bridge Way, if that is where the victim resides. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. The state was not able to make contact with the victim in this case. However, I have been notified that the victim might be on the line. So if Your Honor would like to sound for him.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim, would you prefer to go before or after the victim? I'll leave it to you.
All
right, Mr. Maxwell, do you wish to make a statement?
Yeah, can you hear me? Is the
Yes.
microphone on?
Before
Okay.
you speak, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
All right, what would you like to tell the court? Of most interest is whether or not you'd like to have contact with the defendant.
I do want to have contact with the defendant, and I do want to return to normalcy. I do feel like that what happened on the morning of Saturday was a misunderstanding when we were trying to diffuse a situation. And unfortunately, I understand what the officer had to do, what protocol was. I hope the person had time to think about their actions and reflect on that and grow from it. But we do want to be able to return to a sense of normalcy and just grow from this and go forward. That
All
would
right.
be my
Thank you,
goal.
Mr. Maxwell. I appreciate you coming and making that statement. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Obi is 30 years old, Your Honor, and they do reside together, and we would like to return home. As you know, Mr. Stephen Maxwell has no objection to stay away, nor we don't want to have any stay away nor no further contact, Your Honor. We would like to have a no further violent contact so they can continue their relationships. Ms. Obi has resided here in Georgia for 5 years, and she has a secure job, gainfully employed as an IT cybersecurity team member. She has a bachelor's degree for theater and costume design major, and we would like to request for signature on bond for this case because she is recommended. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond. She is to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the state.
All right, best of luck to you both. Who do we have next?
Next, we have add-on 1, Chester, Harold Chester.
All right, good afternoon.
Your Honor, hold, let me go to our next one. He is in the restroom. Position number 3, Mr. Babers.
Okay, Mr. Babers.
Mr. Babers. Come on.
Mr. Babers, your case number is 22 CR 005590F, in which you're charged with loitering or prowling, obstruction of a law enforcement officer with the offense date of August the 9th. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
What happened, ma'am? I'm charged with?
You're charged with loitering and prowling and obstruction. Do you understand your rights here today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Excuse me, Judge, can I say something?
I don't want you to, please, remember you have a right to remain silent. I don't want you to say anything that might affect your case. The best thing to do is allow Ms. Kim to represent you, okay? If there's an outstanding question at the end that pertains to the bond, the court will hear it, all right? Mr. Howard.
Well, I don't have nothing. He wasn't on my pull sheet, so I don't know how he made the count.
All right, we'll defer to the state. Ms. Duncan.
Yes, Your Honor, this defendant has 30 cycles that go back in Georgia that go back to 1992. This defendant is listed as a multi-state offender and a Georgia convicted felon. In the last 20 cycles alone, this defendant has a probation revocation from 2012, marijuana possession charge from a conviction from 2018, a 2015 possession of cocaine and driving with license suspended conviction, and a 2019 ag assault, willful obstruction, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of a felony, loitering and prowling and giving false information conviction, as well as a probation violation, arrest in 2020, an FTA in 2015, and FTA in 2018. This defendant also has an open case, 21 CR 0068886C, which is criminal trespass, loitering and prowling. And there's an additional open case, 22 CP 11660 for possession of Schedule 1 substances, 3 counts, simple battery, family violence, 1 count, possession of drug-related objects, manufacturer of a controlled substance. In this case, Your Honor, there is a $4,000 total surety bond. That's $2,000 per charge. The state is going to be asking that this bond remain as set. In this case, the defendant was seen on the victim's ring camera wearing a white tank top and tan shorts and sneakers. When officers arrived on scene, they canvassed the area and the defendant was located at the incident location of 1049 Meadow Glen Circle, wearing the described clothing. And when we was confronted by the officers about being on the property, he fled from officers at the time. The state does have a concern that this defendant is a flight risk, given the recent FTAs, as well as the open cases. We have a concern that this defendant is a danger to the community and this particular victim. given the violent convictions and the facts alleged in this case. We're going to additionally ask that there be no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. If the court will go to Ms. Kim, I would be able to get the first name for you, and I'll put it on record at that time of the victim.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. We would like to request for a signature on bond for Mr. Babers. He is 53 years old, and this incident happened on August 9, 2020, more than 2 years ago, Your Honor. And nothing has been happened ever since then for the neighbors. That's where he resides. An incident happened right near the neighbor. There was a misunderstanding. We would like, he has been here in Georgia for more than 22 years, even though he was born in Louisiana. And he has a son whose name is Andre Banks. And his employment, he does have his own business. He does cleaning and lawn mowing services. He has been doing that for the last 20 years. He graduated from high school, and we would like to request for signature on bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Duncan, do you have the name of the victim at this time?
Your Honor, I see the name Smith here. I don't see an additional name, but I do see on the warrants that the officer who took out the warrant is an M. Smith. So from my understanding, it looks like M. Smith may be the victim in this case. I don't see another name. It just says Smith's residence and ran from Smith at that time.
Okay, we'll go with that. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $2,000 surety bond. It'll be $1,000 for each charge. He's to have no further contact with the alleged victim, last name Smith, and stay away from the address on Meadow Glen Circle. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Your Honor, I would like to make sure that he is allowed to go back to his home. 1049 Meadow Glen Circle is his residency, and incident happened on 2024. So he's willing to be stay away.
Okay, yes, stay away from the incident location, but not his actual home. Yes, he can return to his home, but he must stay away from the incident location here in this
Thank
case.
you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. All right, who do we have next?
Position 27, Mr. Richardson.
Okay, I need to go into a breakout on this case, please.
With the state and the defense?
With the state and the defense, please. And I'm assuming I'll need just all supervising counsel, so Ms. Falk, Ms. Duncan, Ms. Kim, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if I could be placed in a breakout, please. All right, we are now hearing the case of Cartes Richardson, case number 22 CR 005606E, in which the defendant is charged with 1 count of loitering and prowling, 1 count of failure to obey traffic device, and 1 count of willful obstruction. In the breakout room, we discussed a potential conflict that the court may have had in this particular case. All parties were made aware of the potential conflict and consented to my hearing this particular case today. I just wanted to make for the record clear notice that all parties have consented to me hearing this case. Mr. Richardson, are you aware, do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Duncan? Oh, well, hearing that it's the first arrest, we'll go straight to Ms. Duncan.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident is alleged to have occurred on August the 20th, 2022. The incident is alleged to have occurred based on a suspicious activity noted by an undercover officer at the 296 Northside Drive Texaco gas station, and it carried over to 600 Greens Ferry, which is the villages at Castleberry. In this case, the defendant is alleged to have been standing in the roadway or loitering outside the premises of that Texaco gas station. And when officers arrived, made an illegal crossing over Northside Drive. And when officers attempted to make contact with the defendant and another party, both parties fled from said officers. Given that this is the defendant's first arrest and the offense is alleged, the state is going to offer a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial that is $500 per charge, and there are 3 charges in this case. A stay away from that Texaco gas station at 296 Northside Drive, and I'm not sure if the defendant lives at the Castleberry villages, and if not, stay away from those as well. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law.
All right, Ms. Kim, are you aware whether or not your client lives at the Castleberry villages?
He actually resides at 589 Fielding Circle, but I do not know whether that is the name of the village. So maybe may I please ask my client?
Yes, please ask your client that.
Mr. Richardson, is your do you know the name of the
Hold on a minute.
Yes.
Hold on.
No problem.
And Mr. Richardson is also going to need a co-signer as well if the court agrees to the signature bond. Is there someone that can sign and co-sign his bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with his father, Richard Jackson, and he is available to co-sign, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay, we good now. It's stopped.
Would you please give the name of the village that you reside in right now?
589 for the circle where we're Georgia.
Okay, so that's not the villages at Castleberry.
No.
It's my presumption, Ms. Kim, that you do not object to the signature bond?
I do not object.
All right, at this time, the defendant's going to receive a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial, $500 each count. He must stay away from the villages of Castleberry, and he must also stay away from the gas station on Northside Drive. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he's going to have a co-signer. The co-signer, again, the name is Kim?
Richard Jackson.
Mr. Howard, what else will they need? Will they need a utility bill or anything of that nature?
The valid ID and a utility bill unless you waive it.
I'll waive the utility bill. They'll need to bring a valid ID to co-sign that signature bond for the defendant.
You said Richard Jackson, right?
Say the name again, Ms. Kim.
Richard, RICHARD, Jackson, JACKSON.
All right, so Mr. Jackson is gonna have to come down with a valid ID. I'll sign the paper so he does not have to bring the utility bill.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
All right, sir, don't please stay out of trouble. Do you understand the court, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I do not want to see you back here. All right, best of luck to you. All right, who do we have next?
24. Mr. Armin.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Orman. Your case number is 22 CR 005598. 8H, in which you're charged with 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property with the offense date of July the 21st of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
I don't have that one. He went to felonies, so my coworker had that one.
Okay, we'll defer to the state. Ms. Duncan?
And from my research on it, this defendant is the 4th cycle since May 4th, 2022. There are 2 there's an arrest for theft by shoplifting and theft by taking on May 4th, 2022 out of Cobb County. There's no disposition listed for that. And the current arrest was out of Roswell. There's an open case 22 CP 211672 for possession of meth and driving on the wrong side of the road. The defendant went to felony and received a $2,500 split bond on that case today. And then there's an additional theft by shoplifting and theft by taking from July 29th, 2022. And it has a magistrate court number 22-3402. In this case, we have a concern about the risk of reoffense. These offenses are alleged to have occurred on July 21st, 2022. Officers responded to a phone call and request to a reference stolen bicycle. They made contact with the victim in this case, Jaquin Chavez, Joaquin Chavez, Chaidez, via phone. The victim in this case indicated to officers that he left his bicycle outside of his residence, which is the 690 Branch Valley Drive. And then upon returning, the bicycle was no longer there. Upon further investigation, officers were able to locate the bike for sale on the Facebook Marketplace. The victim in this case posed as a potential buyer for the bicycle and was able to identify it as the bicycle that was stolen from his property. The current buyer stated that they got it from someone else. The seller of the bicycle agreed to work with the police officers and provided identification in the form of photographs and videos of working with the defendant in this case, which was identified through pictures and video, Connor Ormond, in relation to selling this bicycle. This defendant does live about 1.5 miles away from the victim in this case. Given the defendant's history of theft offenses, as well as the open cases for theft, we are concerned, as I said before, about the risk of reoffense in this case. The state is going to be asking for a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim in this case, a stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, no further violations of Georgia law, and a theft class. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Connor Ormond. He is 27 years old and he moved about a year ago to reside with his friend here in Georgia. And he was working at Public Storage as a, however, right now he is unemployed. He lost his job and he has a 3 years of college experience from South Carolina. And he also worked at Army. He served for the country from 2013 to 2017. We would like to request for signature on bond, or if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond right now, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. I mean, even the felony charge, he had 2,500 split bonds. Misdemeanor charge, having $2,500 would be a little bit too much. We would like to request for 1,000 maximum, so that way he can move forward with his life. As of now, right now, he does not have any financial means. Thank you.
All right, at this time, the defendant is going to receive a $1,000 surety bond. He must stay away from the incident location and have no further contact with the alleged victim, last name Chavez. He is also to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 17, Mr. Jeffries. Jeffries.
Jeffries. Broski.
Hey, son, come on. Hold
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Jeffries. Your case number is 22 CR 005600B, in which you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking and 1 count of possession and use of drug-related objects and 1 count of criminal trespass, each with the offense date of August the 21st. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
15 total, between Georgia, Tennessee. A 2020 arrest in Tennessee for resisting arrest, drug paraphernalia, possession of a Schedule 2. He's on probation. DeKalb County, possession of cocaine, meth, criminal trespass. On probation in Fulton, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, entering auto with intent to commit theft or felony. You want more? That's enough.
No, that's sufficient. Thank
You
you.
got
Ms. Backus?
FTAs too.
How many FTAs?
I saw one. I did just see one on 2017 for terroristic threats.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor, just to verify, this is position 17?
Yes, Jordan Jeffries.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, this incident occurred on yesterday. An officer was flagged down in reference to a stolen bike. He then went to the incident location, which is the Exxon gas station located at 1105A Holcomb Bridge Road, which the owner said that this defendant had a previous criminal trespass warning from that location. The officer spoke with the victim, Dionisio Ortiz. Dionisio is spelled Dionicio. Last name Ortiz is common spelling. He said that his mountain bike had been stolen from the gas station. Officers began patrolling the area looking for the bike and the suspect, and they were able to identify the suspect on video footage. And Mr. Ortiz stated that the bike was worth approximately $400 and he wanted to press charges. The defendant was located nearby at a restaurant, and while conducting the search, the officers found the glass pipe on his person. Your Honor, based on the history, based on the FTA that's just recent, that's from June of this year, and the probation violations, we have concern, the state has concern about risk of reoffense, as well as the defendants showing up to court. So the state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, $4,000 on count 1 and $500 on the subsequent 2 charges. No further contact with the Dionisio Ortiz. Stay away from that incident location of the Exxon gas station, a theft class, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. Nothing further.
I'm sorry, Ms. Backus, what was the stay away address?
It is 1105A Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jordan Jeffries is 23 years old. He has spent in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He does have family here, Your Honor. Mr. Jeffries obtained a high school diploma. He is unemployed at this time, Your Honor. He is certainly looking for work. He denies the allegations. He is presumed innocent. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Jeffries' behalf. And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000, and that would be $500 for the theft by taking and $250 for each remaining count. The FTA date that I heard was 2017, and we do believe that that is remote, Your Honor. We are unopposed to the no contact and stay away provisions. However, I am opposed to the theft class. I do not believe my client will be able to afford that, and we do not want to put him in a situation to violate any bond condition. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, the defendant is going to receive a $1,500 surety bond, $1,000 for count 1, and $250 for the remaining counts. He is to stay away from the address on Holcomb Bridge Road, and he is to have no further contact with the alleged victim, last name Ortiz. He is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of that surety bond. And as a reminder, he'll be reset to the SAP calendar on September the 6th of 2022.
Thank
All
you.
right, all right, if
Your
there's
Honor.
nothing further, best of luck to you, Mr. Jeffries. We can move to the next position.
Next, we have Chester Harold, add-on 1.
Okay. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Harold. Your case number, Mr. Chester, your case number is 22 CR 005612F, in which you're charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence with the offense date of August 21st of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard.
Just 9th arrest. Previous 8 come out of Florida. 2018 grand theft and false identification. Got a 04, it's like a CWEC charge was dismissed, and the interference with custody conviction, and that was from the 90s. So everything is old. He has
Okay.
a Florida warrant too.
Did you say 2018 grand theft?
I did.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened on August 21st at around 7:35 p.m. Officers were dispatched to 2200 Prior Road Southwest. There was a physical dispute between the defendant and the ex-wife of the defendant. And what occurred was that the defendant stated he had taken his ex-wife's phone from her, went into the room, and his stepdaughter then took his phone from him since he took the phone of his ex-wife. He stated he went back and snatched the phone away from his stepdaughter and then pushed his ex-wife inside of the home near the front door. After pushing his ex-wife, the stepdaughter then struck him in the face, and everyone began fighting. So essentially, the officers arrested the defendant because he did admit to being the primary aggressor to police. The victim in this case, his ex-wife, is Mary Ann Chester, common spelling for all of that. And we are requesting a $2,500 surety bond that the defendant stay away from Ms. Chester. He also no further contact with Ms. Chester and also stay away from 2200 Prior Road Southwest. We do have some concerns about there being a very little cooling off period. This happened at around 11:58 yesterday. So we are looking at, it happened at 7:35 yesterday evening. So we were looking at less than 24 hours from the date of the incident. So we do have some real concerns about a cooling off period. We also have concerns about the defendant's lack of ties to the community, being that most of his history is out of Florida, including an active warrant out of Florida. And we are asking for that bond as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I forgot, 2020 battery was his last arrest. Battery, touch, or strike, DV. Disposition was charges were dropped. So that was actually his last arrest. This bond assessment is incorrect again.
I will say the state was not aware of that based on our reading of his history. We actually did not have his NCIC. And so that does also give the state additional concern. We will not modify the bond. However, that adds to the understandable concerns based on the IALA factors of risk of reoffense.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gantz, is this Ms. Gantz's case? Or is this a conflict case? Does anyone represent this defendant?
I believe it is Elizabeth, Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, Ms. Hoke.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I was finished. Is this Mr. Armour?
This is
Mr. Chester
case, Mr. Chester.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Do you need Ms. Falk to summarize what she just argued, Ms. Hogue, or are you prepared to go forward?
I'm prepared to go forward, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
I just need to have heard the criminal history, Your Honor.
Okay, very quickly, Mr. Howard.
So what now?
She didn't hear the history. Please go quickly.
Oh, I gotta pull the file. I'll put it up.
Oh, that's right. Okay, please hurry if you can.
This is 9th arrest. Previous 8 come out of Florida. Last arrest was June 2020. Battery, Tetra strike DV charges were dropped. He got a conviction from 2018 petty theft. 2005 probation. He had a 05 interference with custody conviction. What else? Yeah, everything else was in the 90s. And he got a Florida hold.
All right, Ms. Hogue.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chester is 49 years old, Your Honor. My understanding is that this is his residence, first off. He moved up here and his ex-wife also is up here, who she does happen to have family here. He's been here for a year. He's been working at Grease Monkey as a manager, and he is now going to be shifting to another Grease Monkey and location, I guess is the best way to say it. Prior to that in Florida, he was a truck driver. Right now, my understanding is he denies having started this fight, Your Honor. He denies most of this. In fact, it was somewhat of a 2-on-1, Your Honor. This is his location. He has no problem with no contact, but his request would be that she would have to move out, is that this is where he lives, and she's the one that has family in places where she could go. Your Honor, given that even though he has some history, Your Honor, the most recent is a 2020 that was dismissed, and then it is theft, and then everything goes back about 17 years, Your Honor. He was not approved for a signature bond. I think a signature bond would not be unreasonable in this case, given that it is given the number, the nature of the charges, Your Honor, and the fact that this seemed to be sort of like a 2-on-1 here. So, Your Honor, but in the lieu of that, Your Honor, we do believe $1,000 regular bond, good bond, would be more than sufficient to assure his attendance, Your Honor. He has every reason to be here. He wants to be here. He wanted to move out of Florida. He's had a consistent job for a year and intends to keep that job, and is in fact possibly going to lose that job should he not be able to get out soon enough.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hogue. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $2,000 surety bond. Oh, I'm going to sound for Ms. Chester. Ms. Chester, if you're present on this Zoom conference and wish to be heard.
She's in jail here.
Oh, okay. Cross defendant. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. Like I said, it was a mutual or
okay. So the defendant is a cross defendant. Is she going to be, don't say anything, Mr. Chester. Is anyone aware from the state whether she'll be on this calendar today or tomorrow, or was she already?
It would need to be tomorrow. We were not aware she had actually been arrested. So especially because the defendant himself admitted to officers that he had initiated he was the initial aggressor. But we will, and I'm actually not showing her in the system, but again, we will see if we can have her brought to court tomorrow morning if she is still in custody.
Okay,
Mr. Chester, please let me speak for you, Your Honor. Whether or not he denies any of that, Your Honor, that is a hearsay report from the officers. So at this point, I would say.
Right, I understand. I'm just trying to figure out now the stay away. If she's a cross defendant, that's going to affect.
I will say I just ran her name in the jailing. She is not coming up. So I don't know where she is, but she is not showing in Fulton County Jail.
All right, what we'll do is that he'll receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no further contact with Mary Ann Chester. He must stay away from the address on Pryor Road if Miss Chester resides there. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to ascertain whether or not she's there. If she's not there, he can return. If not, he can collect his items on a one-time basis and must stay away from that location. He is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition.
Your Honor, that is his location. That is his residence.
I understand, but if the victim resides there, is that the information that the state has, Ms. Falk?
But the victim has options to go and live with a family member and can move out much easier.
I understand. The ruling will stand if the state has information that that's where the victim resides.
What our police report says is that I spoke with the caller that stated he was in a physical dispute with his ex-wife that he has lived with for over 10 years and his stepdaughter.
All right, the ruling will stand. All right, is there anything further from either the state or the defense at this time?
Well, listen,
no, Your Honor.
I called the police. I called you guys. I called the police.
I understand.
Mr. Chester, you have a right to remain silent. I don't want you to say something inadvertently that may end up being used against you, okay? If you have questions, the best thing for you to do is to speak with Ms. Hogue regarding your case, okay?
As I said, Your Honor, I do understand this frustration, especially since it is his place and he doesn't have a way to go and she will. So
I understand that, Ms. Holt, but if the information that's before me is that she resides there, if he gets there with law enforcement and she's no longer living there, he's free to return to his home. But
Okay.
if she's still living there, you know, Ms. Holt, I cannot, and especially whether it's not clear whether or not she's the cross defendant here or whether she's the victim. And, you know, that would have played in, but no one can tell me any information that she's in the jail. So
Your Honor-
since that, go ahead, Ms. Paul.
Your Honor, we actually did get a response from our victim witness advocate. She spoke to Miss Mary Ann Chester, who stated she would need to call her back. So if she was in jail, she wouldn't have actually answered the phone and then spoken with our victim advocate.
All right, so the ruling will stand as is. It can be revisited at a later date. Because he's receiving a surety bond, it will be reset to the SAP calendar. Even if he bonds out, perhaps Ms. Hogue, if you would like to do a further investigation and appear on that date, that will be possible. All right.
All right,
Is
thank you,
there
Your Honor.
anything further from either the state or the defense as it pertains to this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Chester. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, is position 15 and position 30 conflicts?
Let's see. I have that 15 is a conflict.
Okay.
And I also have that 30. Yes, 15 and 30 are conflict
Okay.
cases.
Position 15, Mr. Joel Grimes.
Joel.
Joel, I apologize, sir.
All right, Mr. Grimes, your case number is 22 CR 00559. Excuse me, 5D, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery with the offense date of August the 21st. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
I do.
All right, now you have a right to an attorney today, but however, there is no conflict attorney present on this Zoom conference, and the public defender's office is conflicted out from representing you. So what I will do is I'm going to listen to your history very closely, and if I do not feel that I can give you a signature bond at this time, we will reset you to tomorrow's SCA calendar in the hopes that a conflict attorney will appear. Would you like to represent yourself today, or would you prefer to be reset automatically till tomorrow in the hopes that you would like to represent yourself today? I'm sorry?
I would like to represent myself today, Your Honor.
Okay, and I will hear very limited statements from you. If I feel that you're starting to say something against your own interests, I'll have to cut you off because I do not want you to infringe upon your constitutional rights. You understand that?
I do understand that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
This is 9th arrest. He has 5 cycles out of Louisiana, but they're from the 90s though. Last arrest was 2011, suspended license, no low. He had 2 arrests from 07 for DUI convictions. He got a Cobb County hold too.
Your Honor, the Cobb County hold is a misunderstanding where.
Okay, don't say anything. Okay, I understand. I just don't want the state is listening. Is that complete, Mr. Howard?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Backus.
Yes, Your Honor. We don't have the police report on this incident yet. We know that he was into a physical altercation with someone by the name of Robert Simmons. And when the officer observed Mr. Simmons, he had visible swelling to his lip. I believe, if I remember correctly, the victim was also arrested. So like I said, I don't have all the factual basis based on that, and we don't have any recent history. I think the last thing we have is 2011. So the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Robert Simmons, a stay away from that incident location. I believe it was 564 Woodward Avenue. As long as if that's where the Mr. Simmons resides, we would ask for the stay away. And 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, nothing further.
Your Honor, Mr. Simmons attacked me with.
Okay, don't tell me about what happened.
Okay.
Don't tell me about, just tell me about, is your address the 564 Woodward Avenue?
It is not.
All right. At this time, Mr. Grimes is going to receive a $1,500 surety bond. He is to stay away from the incident location on Woodward Avenue and have no contact with Mr. Simmons. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he will be reset to tomorrow's SCA calendar in the hopes that a conflict attorney will appear, but he is also free to bail out. Mr. Grimes, do you have any very limited questions regarding this bond?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a jury date on September 6th, and I also leave to go to a work conference in Wiesbaden, Germany, from September 7th, returning on September 17th.
Okay, I don't want you to say too much. Again, I'm gonna reset you, give you that surety bond. Your case will appear tomorrow on this same calendar. If you don't make bond by then, please speak with a conflict attorney at that time, all right?
I've had an attorney, I just couldn't get him here in time, so do I still need to speak to?
Do you have an attorney today?
My
What you should
wife-
do is
my wife has
Go ahead.
contacted the attorney on my behalf. I just have not gotten a chance to make my one phone call.
Okay, once you do that, please let your attorney know that you'll appear on the calendar tomorrow as well, okay?
So if I bond out, do I still have to appear?
No, if you bond out, you do not have to appear, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 30, Mr. Terry.
After Mr. Terry, does that complete our calendar?
No, Your Honor. After that, we have position 26 and 21.
All right, and do we have an announcement? Is there position 11 as well?
Position 11.
Reset medical.
Okay, is position 11 reset?
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, have we done position 18?
Okay, it appears there's many positions we have not done. Let's take this
Okay.
on up.
Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Terry. Your case number is 22 CR 005610A, in which you're charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass with the offense date of August the 20th. Do you understand your constitutional rights? You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. You understand that? All right. Mr. Howard?
12 total. Last arrest was on the 8th of this month. Probation out of Clayton County. He's on probation for ag assault, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, terrorist threats, obstruction, shoplifting. They gave him 5 years probation back in February 2019. He got a couple of trespass arrests. Well, actually, it's more than a couple, about 4 of them. 2019 simple assault family violence arrest. The other stuff was I already gave you, so that's pretty much
Okay,
it.
that's good. Thank you, Ms. Duncan.
From what I saw, Your Honor, in addition to what pretrial stated, I saw 2 convictions for criminal trespass in 2019 and another criminal trespass conviction in 2020, as well as a probation violation in 2020, and a probation violation in 2022. In addition to the most recent arrest was earlier this month. The state in this case has a extreme concern for the risk of reoffense, not only given the defendant's history, but given the facts of this case, which is alleged to have occurred on the 20th of this month at 1809 D4 Avenue Northwest in Atlanta. D4 is DEFOOR Avenue. In this case, officers notated that the defendant has been listed several times as being told by the victim in this case, Mr. Brent Merrill, BRENT Merrill, MERILL, to never return to his property. However, after Mr. Merrill left the location, the defendant in this case came back the following day. After Mr. Merrill had boarded the location up at all possible points of entry and broke into the property by breaking down the boarding and breaking the windows and doors to get in. A concerned citizen in the neighborhood heard the noise coming from inside the location and alerted the victim in this case to what was going on. And they called the police. After the police made entry to the location. The defendant in this case was caught on the inside after entering through the front door, which was in the living room, and transported to Fulton County Jail. Given the facts and circumstances, Your Honor, the victim indicated that he told this person to never return, even when as far as boarding up the location at all points of entry, and the defendant still refused to listen to the commands of the owner of the property and entered by breaking windows and doors to get into the property. The state is going to be requesting, this defendant is currently being held without bond. The state is going to be requesting a $4,000 total surety. That's $2,000 a surety per charge of given the amount of previous convictions. No further contact with the victim in this case, Brent Merrill, and stay away from the incident location already on record. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. This defendant does also pose a risk of not a likelihood to respond to the legal process, given that he has several probation violations and seems to be in another probation violation, given that he just received probation earlier this month.
All right, thank you. What I'm gonna do, Mr. Terry, is you had the right to an attorney today, but just like the position before me, an conflict attorney was not available to represent you. I'm assuming that you want to represent yourself. I'm gonna give you a surety bond today in the amount of $3,000, $1,500 each count, and I'm gonna reset your case to tomorrow's SCA calendar in the hopes that a conflict attorney will be present to assist you. He must also stay away from the address on 1809 DeFore Avenue. All right? Do you understand that, Mr. Terry? Do you understand what has happened today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Don't say too much to me. The state is listening. I just wanted to explain to you how the bond went, and you'll be reset to tomorrow. All right?
How much was that?
Judge, what's the breakdown?
It's $3,000, $1,500 each count.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Ms. Tortorella's business is concluded with the court. May she be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Your Honor.
All right. Take care, Ms. Tortorella.
Thanks.
All right. I wish the rest of us were able to join Ms. Tortorella, but we will keep going. We will forge ahead. All right. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 26, Mr. Powell.
All right. We attempted to go to this position earlier. Mr. Powell, I think I read your case number into the record already. Do you understand you're right, Mr. Powell?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you're charged with 1 count of battery, family violence. Mr. Howard?
21 total. Between Georgia and Illinois. Last arrest was 2019. Criminal damage to property is the charge out of Harvey, Illinois. Before that was reckless driving, changing lanes without signal. That was from 2019. Suspended license, some seatbelt stuff from 2018. Got a battery and domestic battery. That was stricken off with leave to reinstate. And a resisting peace officer conviction. That was from 2017. Got a drug conviction, 2016. Unlawful use of a weapon, 2015. Got another domestic battery from 2014, stricken off with leave to reinstate, is what it says. 2014 battery, disorderly conduct. 2013 aggravated. Got something about a weapon on the person or something.
Okay.
2013 battery.
Oh, okay. Was there anything else violent?
I don't know. You cut me
Okay. Okay. Keep going, Mr. Howard.
No, we'll just leave it at that. I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Duncan.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident is alleged to have occurred on August the 20th, 2022 at 594 Wimbledon Road, apartment 3212, Wimbledon, my apologies. It's spelled Wimbledon Road, common spelling. In this case, Your Honor, we have a extreme concern about the risk of reoffense in this case, given this defendant's multiple occurrence of violence in the criminal history, as well as intimidation of the victim witness in this case. The warrant indicates that the victim in this case, Mr. Raymond Bryant, called 911 to report that he was just assaulted by his boyfriend, the defendant in this case, who lives with him. He had cuts and bite marks on his arms, given that there was a physical altercation between the two. He stated to officers that he was struck in the head with a paper towel holder by the defendant in this case, and that the defendant grabbed his gun during the altercation. The victim indicated to officers that the altercation began when the victim, Mr. Bryant, asked the defendant, Mr. Powell, for the remote batteries. We did have a chance to speak to the victim in this case. He stated that they are in a relationship and that they live together. Even though he does not want to prosecute, the state has extreme concerns given the violent history as listed of this defendant and the violent nature of the offenses alleged, including visible injuries and possible weapons during the altercation. For those reasons, the state is going to be requesting a $3,500 surety, no further contact with the victim in this case, and stay away from the incident location, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state, and I believe the victim is on the line if Your Honor would like to sound.
All right, Ms. Kim, would you prefer to go first, or would you like to hear from the victim? You're muted, Ms. Kim.
I would like to let him go first about contact issue.
All right, Mr. Goyard, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes.
If you'd like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. You're not required to do so. What the court is most interested in is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant at this time.
Yes, I wish to have contact.
Oh, wait, before you start speaking, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, what would you like to tell the court at this time?
I would wish to have contact with him, and it was just a misunderstanding. I really need him home because I used him for emotional support because I lost my mom and I really don't have nobody but him. And that's really what I have to say.
All right, thank you for making that statement. Ms. Kim, please proceed.
Yes, Mr. Powell is 28 years old, and he moved from Chicago, Illinois about 2 years ago for his job and his relationship. He has employment as a janitor. He's been working as a janitor for about a year. His highest level of education is high school diploma, and he also has a 7-year-old child that he has to support financially. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Since his financial means is very, very tight, and yet if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond and no further violent contact, as Mr. Raymond Brandt also wishes to do so. Thank you.
All right, is there anything further from Ms. Duncan, since I allowed the victim to speak? Ms. Duncan or Ms. Kim, anything further?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would just like to make note for the record, as Your Honor well knows, we have still renew our concern for this witness because the statements made are inconsistent with the cycles of violence. So we would say that we request that our bond be surety in this case.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no further contact with the alleged victim at this time. Contact can be revisited at the SAP calendar. He is to stay away from the incident location. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items that may be in his possession. And he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of that surety bond. Is there anything further? Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. Goyard, I know you're raising your hand and I've heard your testimony today. The best thing for you to do is speak to Ms. Kim regarding my ruling, okay? I don't want you to say something that might inadvertently be used against the defendant, all right? All right, best of luck to you both. Who do we have next?
Position 21, Mr. Malik.
Your Honor, was PD Kim requesting a breakout?
Yeah, is this the breakout position?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this the last case on the calendar today?
I believe so, Your Honor.
What happened to Johnson?
I'm gonna, reason I'm asking is I want to take the breakout case last. So if there's anybody else that needs.
I believe position 18 was a medical reset.
John, that is correct. Medical reset to 823.
Okay, so if this is the last position, let's go ahead and go into our breakout.
You want me to give you the history real quick?
Yes, please give us the history, Mr. Howard.
All right, 12 total. He got history out of Nevada, Florida, and Texas. Last arrest was in June. Obstruction, disorderly conduct. That's open in state court. 22 CR 004-142E as in Edward. 2011, driving while intoxicated. 2014, same charge. This is out of Texas. 2015, driving without invalid, I guess, license. 2016, driving while intoxicated. He got a lot of those. 2021, assault causing bodily injury.
Wait, 2021?
Yes.
Okay.
That was out of El Paso. It just says prosecutor accepts the charge. So I'll assume
it's
open.
Still open? Okay.
2021 out of North Miami Beach, Florida. Trespass that was dismissed. He had a 2021 fraud. 2020 disorderly intoxication.
2021, did you say fraud?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're going so fast, Mr. Howard. Normally.
Well, I know you
keep
pressed
going.
for time, so you know.
Clearly we're not. Go ahead.
Yeah, the last arrest in Nevada was 2009. Says a resident with non-Nevada registration. 2008 DUI. That's it.
All right. If we could be placed in that breakout, please. All right, in the case of maximum leave, case 22 CR 005609E, the defendant is going to receive $1,000 surety bond. He is to stay away from the address on Mimosa Boulevard, and he is to have no further contact with the alleged victim, in this case, last name Mulkey. He is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. As a clarification from the state, is there anything further we need to do to facilitate the referral that we discussed in the breakout, or will that be sufficient at this time?
No, Your Honor. Now that MH is aware of him, they will then take the process from here.
All right. I believe
who's
that
following the order? I'm sorry. Who's following
there's
the
no
order?
order. There's no order, Ms. Lewis. No
Oh,
order.
it's not. Okay.
There's no order. All right. I believe that completes the entire calendar. Is that correct?
So Judge, would it be reset to the next SAP?
No, this one will not be reset to an SAP. We discussed that in the breakout. What will happen here is now that he has a surety and he's in the pipeline for MH, it should be that they pick him up. But if we're concerned, out of an abundance of caution, let's put the case on the SAP calendar just so that we can check back on it. That may not be necessary, but what we'll do is please go ahead and reset it, Ms. Grace. But in the meantime, we don't expect him to actually appear on that calendar. Does that make sense? All right.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine.
All right. Now, that does complete the entire calendar? Yes, courtroom 2, you all can be excused. Thank you so much for your patience today. Those who wish to hear the calendar be reviewed are free to listen. Those who wish to scoot off are free to do that as well. Miss Grace, if you would review the calendar for us and remind us of our reset date,
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, take care, Mr. Howard.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, 9/6 is the reset date. Okay, position number 1 is a $2,000 cash bond. Position number 2 is a $5,000 split bond. Position number 3 is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 4 is a $4,000 split bond. Position number 5 is a $3,500 good bond. Position number 6 is a $1,500 good bond. Position number 7 is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 8 is a $4,500 good bond. Position number 9 is a $1,000 good bond. Position number 10 is a $500 good bond. Position number 11 is reset for the 823 SEA. Position number 12 is a $4,000 good bond. Position number 13 is a $15,000 good bond, which I have the transfer order to transfer to Superior Court. Position number 14 is a $5,000 split bond. Position number 15 is a $1,500 good bond. Position number 16 is a $3,000 good bond. Position number 17 is a $1,500 good bond. Position number 18 is reset 823 SEA. Position number 19 is a $5,000 good bond. Position number 20 is a $3,500 good bond. Position number 21 is a $1,000 good bond. Position number 22 is a $2,250 split bond. Position 23 is a $1,500 good bond. Position 24 is a $1,000 good bond. Position 25 is a $4,000 good bond. Position 26 is a $2,000 good bond. Position 27 is a $1,500 pretrial bond. Position number 28 is a $5,000 pretrial bond. Position 29 is a $10,000 good bond with a transfer to Superior Court, and I have the order. Position number 30 is a $3,000 good bond. Add-on calendar, position number 1 is a $2,000 good bond. Any questions?
Only thing I
Sounds
wanted
right.
to clarify, Ms. Grace, is that those that didn't have a conflict attorney will be reset to tomorrow
That's
as
for
well.
tomorrow. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so whatever positions, I believe it was 15, 30, and
30, 9, 15, 30.
okay, so they will
11
appear, on
tomorrow.
tomorrow's
Tomorrow's
SCA.
calendar. Yes, ma'am. If they
All
don't
right.
make bond, well, yes. ma'am.
Right, if they don't bond out, they will appear on tomorrow's calendar. All right, hearing no further questions from anyone, we will now be in recess until tomorrow, 8/23's SCA calendar. Please send any remaining orders or papers that I need to sign to Ms. Grace. Take care and enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. Bye.